And now for today's spotlight. UME Radio was originally founded in 2009. Back then, it was called Advanced Media Production. After winning first place in the Jamaica Broilers Fair Play Awards, the company ceased operations around 2012. In December 2018, the company was rebranded and brought back into operations with new ownership, and in February 2019, it launched its first radio station, UME Radio, under the call sign WUME, DD, New York. UME Radio is a digital radio station, owned and operated by UME Digital Media Inc., a digital studio and multimedia company, headquartered in Bronx, New York. Our brands are committed to inspiring, educating, and entertaining people through transformative and empowering content. Our mission is to reach 1 million households, touch 1 million lives, and showcase 1 million brands. Get the UME Radio app for the full experience, available via your Apple and Google Play stores. If you want to listen on the web, you may go to app.umeradio.com or via our website at www.umeradio.com. Our content can be watched on Carib Vision. You can also listen in via Amazon Music, iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Google Podcast, Podbean, TuneU, Live 365, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM Listen Notes. For all business inquiries, contact us at info@umeradio.com. This station.
Are you ready for the weekend?
Weekends on UME Radio. Get the UME Radio app.
Weekends on UME Radio. The sun is up and so are we. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, all at UME Radio.
UME Radio. Positive entertainment 24/7. Subscribe on YouTube and click the notification bell. International.
Welcome to Entertainment Now on Umi Radio, WUMEDB New York. This show takes you beyond the music, dance, box office and thrills, for deeper and more meaningful insights into the minds and hearts of the players. We share stories about pop culture, celebrities, and everything entertainment, but with education and empowerment in mind. It's all about positive entertainment. Here is today's hot topic.
Hot topics include: Wendy Williams opens up about her return to TV and her health. See new cast of The Color Purple, next to stars of original movie in same roles. West Side Story star Ariana DeBose didn't think she was going to get the job, now she's an Oscar nominee. I want to be all that I can be, and get back to New York: Wendy Williams breaks her silence, ready to return to daytime television show amid deteriorating health reports. This story is courtesy of AtlantaBlackStar.com. Wendy Williams opened up about her current state of health and her possible return to her daytime television show on February 16, after sharing a video on her new official Instagram account. Williams, who has been absent from the Wendy Williams Show since September of last year, has been dealing with complications from her Graves' disease and was ultimately diagnosed with COVID-19. Following the diagnosis, several news outlets reported that the star was experiencing early signs of dementia, which was later debunked by Williams' brother, Tommy Williams. Here is what Wendy has to say for herself.
Hey Mom, how you doing?
Hi.
How's your morning going?
It's just after 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm doing okay, you know? Like, I want to be all I can be, and then get back to New York and get on down with the Wendy Williams Show.
In other stories, EW.com released an article featuring the casts, then and now, of The Color Purple. The article reads, "The Color Purple is returning to the big screen." Based on Alice Walker's novel, the original film premiered in 1985 and was an Oscar-nominated hit. It was adapted into a Broadway musical in 2005, and it's that version, replete with songs, that is being turned into a new film. Let's have a look at the new cast, and who will be playing the different characters from the first film. Shug Avery is a force to be reckoned with. A showgirl, Margaret Avery earned an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress for her work in the original film, in the role of Shug Avery, but Taraji P. Henson is well poised to step into her high-heeled, sparkly shoes and bring all of Shug's glamour to the table. Harpo is the son of Celia's abusive husband, Mr., and husband to Sophia, until she leaves him for his violent ways. Willard E. Pugh played Harpo in an early role. And now, the Walking Dead star, Corey Hawkins, will bring Harpo back to life. When Sophia leaves Harpo, he takes up with Squeak, a far meeker woman that he believes he can easily boss around. But when Celia and Sophia decide to stand up for themselves, it also inspires Squeak to find her voice. Rae Dawn Chong made an early mark with this supporting role. Now, she will be portrayed by Grammy and Oscar-winning R&B singer, H.E.R., who will be making her film acting debut. Oprah Winfrey made her film acting debut as the fierce Sophia, and it earned her an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress right off the bat. Sophia is a force of nature, running her household and retaliating when Harpo abuses her, until a confluence of events temporarily break her spirit. Now, Danielle Brown, of Orange is the New Black, will be playing Sophia. Brooks starred as Sophia in the 2015 Broadway revival of The Color Purple musical, earning a Tony nomination for Best Featured Actress. The Color Purple is Celie's story, and a deeply moving tale of her journey to asserting her self-worth and the power of sisterhood. Whoopi Goldberg was predominantly known as a comedian when she was cast in only her second film role as Celie. She shocked audiences with her portrayal of the meek, downtrodden Celie, and it earned her a Best Actress Oscar nod. Celie was her career-making role, and it also opened doors for Fantasia Barrino, who portrayed the character in the Broadway show and its revival. Albert, known more commonly as Mr., is one of the villains in Celie's story. Given to him in marriage by her father, Celie endures abuse at Albert's hands until she turns into a meek shell of herself. Danny Glover, who excels at both drama and comedy, put a memorable stamp on the role, and now it's S. Coleman Domingo's turn. Celie's younger sister, Nettie, fights off Mr.'s advances, leading to her dismissal from his house. Akosua Bija, a descendant of Ghanaian royalty, played the role of Nettie then, and now the role will be played by Halle Bailey. This will be Bailey's second major film role, as she was already set to make waves as the new Ariel in Disney's live-action Little Mermaid. And finally, in another story, EW.com reveals that West Side Story star Ariana DeBose didn't think she was going to get the job. Now she's an Oscar nominee. The newly minted Oscar nominee, who plays Anita in Steven Spielberg's reimagining of the celebrated musical, sits down with EW's The Awardist podcast, where she also discusses her recent SNL hosting gig. I was like, I have no idea what is happening anymore. I'm just going to get on the ride, DeBose, who received her first Oscar nomination last week, recalls after landing the role. I was like, okay, so I'm just going to go in and be prepared for him to tell me exactly what he wants me to do, and how he wants me to do it. I'm just going to deliver, because that is what is required for this director. And he blew my mind because he was just like, well, what do you want to do? And he let me run wild. He was like, I hired you because you are my Anita, I trust you with her. I think it's the greatest gift that he gave me was to empower me to trust myself.
Special feature, courtesy of Stacker.com is, Black Artists' Music Wouldn't Be the Same Without. The article, which was written by Nicole Caldwell and published on January 25, 2022, shares, there is no American music that doesn't have black roots. From country western, which draws upon banjo music from Africa, to rock and roll, begun by a black woman playing electric guitar in 1938, American music can't be separated out from its rich history of diversity and experimentation. We'll be spotlighting 30 black artists and their influences. Scott Joplin. Essential Listening, Maple Leaf Rag, 1899. Who he inspired, Claude Debussy, Igor Stravinsky, and Fats Waller. Scott Joplin grew up along the borders of Texas and Arkansas in a musical family. The second of 7 children. By the time he was a teenager, he was making a living as a music instructor and piano player, traveling as far as Syracuse, New York, for gigs and playing in various groups including the Queen City Cornet Band and Texas Medley Quartet. Louis Armstrong. Essential Listening, West End Blues, 1928. Who he inspired, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Prima, and Tom Waits. Louis Armstrong, according to scholars, is the first great jazz soloist. He, along with his Hot 5 and Hot 7 groups, made a series of recordings between 1925 and 1928, heralded today as the most transformative influence of jazz music. Famed music critic Dan Morgenstern once said, "There is not a single musician playing in the jazz tradition who does not make daily use, knowingly or unknowingly, of something invented by Louis Armstrong." Bessie Smith. Essential Listening, Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out, 1929. Who she inspired, Billie Holiday. Anyone who sang, or listened to, the blues since Bessie Smith, has been subjected to her influence. She was known for filling a room with her voice sans microphone and depth of what she sang about, everyday worries for everyday people, with a confidence and bravado that could stop you in your tracks. Her 10-year recording career managed to profoundly influence the totality of American music in the 20th century. Robert Johnson. Essential Listening, Sweet Home Chicago, 1936. Who he inspired: Allman Brothers, Eric Clapton, Bob Dylan, and the Rolling Stones. Known as the first bluesman of modern American music, Johnson recorded tunes in 1936 and 1937 in room 414 of the Gunter Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, which was set up as a temporary recording studio. Those tracks were finally properly compiled as the complete recordings in 1990. A member of the 27 Club. Sister Rosetta Tharpe. Essential Listening, Rock Me, 1938, bonus video, Didn't It Rain? Who she inspired: Jerry Lee Lewis, Jimi Hendrix, Little Richard, Elvis Presley, Isaac Hayes, Aretha Franklin, and Chuck Berry. She recorded her most influential song, that most clearly lays the foundation for rock and roll, Rock Me, on October 31, 1938, when Elvis was 3, Little Richard was 6, Chuck Berry was 12, and B.B. King was 13. When her guitar playing was compared to that of man, Tharpe had a rebuttal ready: "Can't no man play like me. I play better than a man." Duke Ellington. Essential Listening, Mood Indigo, 1930. Who he inspired: Thelonious Monk. Duke Ellington is synonymous with Harlem nightlife and big band jazz, working alongside powerhouses like Bessie Smith and Louis Armstrong to push jazz to the masses. Ellington had the uncanny ability to write commercially viable songs without surrendering his artistry. His ability to keep up with the times maintained his relevancy throughout his lifetime and secured dozens of awards throughout his tenure, from 13 Grammys and a Pulitzer to the 1969 Medal of Freedom. Billie Holiday. Essential Listening, Strange Fruit, 1939. Who she inspired: Paula West, Joey Arias, Joni Mitchell. A young Billie Holiday listened to 1920s Bessie Smith and Louis Armstrong records, but instead of mimicking their vocals, Holiday had a different approach: a hushed, almost reluctant voice cloaked in suspense that was suited perfectly for new microphone technology in the 1930s that could amplify her sound. She was catapulted into the spotlight with her 1939 recording of Strange Fruit, a protest song about the lynchings of African Americans. Louis Jordan. Essential Listening, Caldonia, 1945. Who he inspired: James Brown, Ray Charles, Muddy Waters, Chuck Berry, Fats Domino. Jordan's popularity spanned 2 decades, from the 1930s to the 1950s, and included duets with some of the time's most major acts, including Louis Armstrong, Bing Crosby, and Ella Fitzgerald. He was a gifted player of the sax, piano, and clarinet, and was a major writer and co-writer of iconic songs throughout the 20th century, including Let the Good Times Roll and Is You Is or Is You Ain't My Baby. Thelonious Monk. Essential Listening, Straight, No Chaser, 1967. Who he inspired: Herbie Hancock, John Coltrane. Thelonious Monk, an early founder of bebop and modern jazz, is widely revered as one of the world's greatest jazz pianists. Monk was largely inspired by stride piano, a style developed along the East Coast in the 1930s and 40s, whereby the left hand plays a 4-beat pulse, while the right hand keeps melody, a style initially popularized by ragtime musicians like Scott Joplin and used by musicians like Duke Ellington and James P. Johnson. Nat King Cole. Essential Listening, Unforgettable, 1952. Who he inspired: Frank Sinatra, Ray Charles, Michael Jackson. Nat King Cole was born in Birmingham, Alabama. His father was a respected pastor of the First Baptist Church. Cole's mother, a choir director at the church, began teaching her son to play piano by ear when he was just 4 years old. Cole became the first black man to perform romantic music for white people. He was also the first black man to host a nationally syndicated TV show, The Nat King Cole Show. Ella Fitzgerald. Essential Listening, Air Mail Special, 1957. Who she inspired: Adele, Lady Gaga, Lana Del Rey. Ella Fitzgerald carried the distinction of being the most famous woman jazz singer in the United States for more than 50 years. She sold more than 40 million albums, won 13 Grammys, was awarded the National Medal of the Arts by President Ronald Reagan, and will forever be remembered as one of the greatest scat singers in history. Her fingerprints are all over modern-day pop stars. The star recorded more than 200 albums throughout her life. B.B. King. Essential listening, The Thrill Is Gone, 1969. Who he inspired: David Gilmour, Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, Bonnie Raitt. World famous for his insane blues licks and iconic Gibson guitars, B.B. King churned out 75 R&B hits between 1951 and 1992. His music pushed the boundaries of what blues could be, drawing on a changing musical landscape that brought in and built upon evolving sound in the industry. His influence as a rock and blues guitarist was virtually unsurpassed throughout the 1960s. Chuck Berry. Essential listening, Johnny B. Good, 1958. Who he inspired: The Beatles, The Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen. Chuck Berry brought R&B music into households across the United States and the world. No one could touch Berry throughout the latter half of the 1950s and early 1960s as he churned out hit after hit tracks like Rock and Roll Music, 1957, Brown-Eyed Handsome Man, 1957, Sweet Little 16, 1958, and Roll Over Beethoven, 1963. Ray Charles. Essential listening, What Did I Say Parts 1 and 2, 1959. Who he inspired: Aretha Franklin, Billy Joel, Van Morrison, Elvis Presley, Stevie Wonder, and Tina Turner. A blind piano virtuoso who could play blues, rock, jazz, and country western, often multiple at the same time, Ray Charles was a true trailblazer for soul music, single-handedly shaping the genre with classics from Hit the Road Jack to You Don't Know Me and injecting the genre into country western music. His career spanned more than half a century, with surreal accolades including 17 Grammys. Miles Davis. Essential listening, So What, 1959. He inspired Duane Allman, Lester Bangs, Brian Eno, Tim Buckley, Rick James, Flea, and Prince. Miles Davis's albums did more than influence music, they changed it forever. From Birth of the Cool, 1957, in which you can hear Davis leaving bebop behind, to Bitches Brew, 1970, the gold standard in jazz fusion. He innovated on every piece of music he wrote, took chances, and never grew complacent. No two of his albums are alike. The echoes of Davis's impact can be felt throughout our culture. Nina Simone. Essential listening, I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free, 1967. Who she inspired: Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Tracy Chapman, Jeff Buckley, Mary J. Blige, Lauryn Hill, John Legend, David Bowie, and Aretha Franklin. While other black artists of the time worked on the TV circuit, played nice with white audiences, and pursued commercial success in any way possible, Nina Simone refused to compromise. She laid the groundwork for future hip-hop artists, civil rights activists, and black musicians. Fats Domino. Essential listening, Ain't That a Shame, 1955. Who he inspired: Elvis Presley and Bob Marley. In addition to his well-earned moniker as the godfather of rock and roll, credit also goes to Fats Domino for creating ska music. You can hear his influence clearly in the offbeat pacing of his 1959 track Be My Guest, which inspired Jamaican artists to experiment with new rhythms that would serve as the precursor to reggae music. Sam Cooke. Essential listening, A Change Is Gonna Come, 1964. Who he inspired: Aretha Franklin, Alabama Green, Otis Redding, Rod Stewart, and Stevie Wonder. Sam Cooke struggled to find his place in the civil rights movement, as he enjoyed a meteoric rise as a crossover sensation who bridged gospel and soul music with vanilla hits like Bring It On Home to Me and Twistin' the Night Away. Dissatisfied that white singers should be the only ones discussing civil rights, Cooke came out the following year with the emotional A Change Is Gonna Come. Curtis Mayfield. Essential Listening, Keep on Pushing, The Impressions, 1964. Who he inspired: Tracy Chapman, Sly Stone, Stevie Wonder, Sinead O'Connor, Jimi Hendrix, and Bob Marley. Curtis Mayfield goes down in history as one of the most politically conscious artists of his time. Mayfield joined The Impressions when he was just 14 years old. The band's 1965 album, People Get Ready, was widely considered the soundtrack for the civil rights movement. His career spanned the next 3 decades, with his last recording, New World Order, in 1996. Etta James. Essential Listening, All I Could Do Was Cry, 1960. Who she inspired: Janis Joplin, The Rolling Stones, and Tina Turner. Etta James transcended musical genres, living at various times within gospel, jazz, rock and roll, soul, and R&B throughout her stunning, decades-spanning career. James is revered for acting as a bridge from R&B to rock and roll, and has been honored with numerous Grammys and Blues Music Awards, and an induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Blues Hall of Fame, and Grammy Hall of Fame. Isley Brothers. Founding members: O'Kelly Isley Jr., Rudolph Isley, and Ronald Isley. Essential Listening, Go for Your Guns, 1977. Who they inspired: The Beatles, Michael Jackson, Earth, Wind and Fire, Salt and Pepper, Cool and the Gang, Prince, Boyz II Men, and Kendrick Lamar. The Isley Brothers transformed themselves and modern music along the way. The group has been called, with absolute seriousness, the most important American band of all time, for an influence rivaled only by the Beatles. Diana Ross. Essential Listening, I'm Coming Out, 1980. Who she inspired: Mary J. Blige, Beyoncé, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, Roberta Flack, Toni Braxton, Dusty Springfield, Mariah Carey, and Michael Jackson. Diana Ross and her Mighty Supremes set the pacing for the Motown sound from the moment they formed in 1959 throughout the 1960s, with their voices as the soundtrack of the times. Ross was one of the biggest female artists throughout quick musical changes of the 1970s and 80s and inspired black women vocalists who came after. Stevie Wonder. Essential Listening, Sir Duke, 1976. Who he inspired: John Legend, Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, Kanye West, Michael Jackson, Lauryn Hill, and Prince. Stevie Wonder, blind since infancy, demonstrated an early mastery over multiple instruments and a natural singing ability. His first album came out in 1962 when he was just 12. Most critics agree Wonder's crowning achievement was the 1976 album, Songs in the Key of Life, a far-reaching, poignant album that earned the distinction of Album of the Year at the 19th Grammy Awards. James Brown. Essential Listening, Please, 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 1956. Who he inspired: Public Enemy, Michael Jackson, Mick Jagger, David Bowie, Prince, Fela Kuti, and Tina Turner. James Brown's first commercial recording, Please, 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 has all the elements that made James Brown, James Brown. The song has no lyrics beyond the title itself, with a few lines of longing, baby you did me wrong, well you done me wrong, and so forth, which would have been a tough sell for virtually any other artist. Marvin Gaye. Essential Listening, What's Going On, 1971. Who he inspired: The Weeknd, Robin Thicke, The Rolling Stones, Alicia Keys, Outkast, Seal, Gnarls Barkley, The Band, Aretha Franklin, The Strokes, and Diana Ross. Soul artist Marvin Gaye's influence can be heard in modern-day tracks by Robin Thicke, Blurred Lines, The Weeknd, The Music, and Bilal, Love It. His 1971 album, What's Going On, is widely understood to be one of the most transformative, important albums of the entire 20th century. The Temptations. Original members: David Ruffin, Paul Williams, Eddie Kendricks, and Melvin Franklin. Essential Listening, My Girl, 1964. Who they inspired: The Jackson 5, Macy Gray, Al Green, the Pointer Sisters, and the Doobie Brothers. R&B megastars, The Temptations, were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1989, and were rated the #1 R&B hip-hop artists of all time by Billboard magazine. Aretha Franklin. Essential listening, I Never Loved a Man, The Way I Loved You, 1967. Who she inspired, Jennifer Hudson, Luther Vandross, Chaka Khan, Whitney Houston, and Amy Winehouse. Anyone with a set of ears could have known in 1956 that 14-year-old Aretha Franklin was going to be a star when she was recorded live by JVB Records, singing You Grow Closer at New Bethel Baptist Church in Detroit. The complete recordings were released in 1965 by Checker Recordings. In 1987, she became the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Jimi Hendrix. Essential listening, Little Wing, 1967. Who he inspired, Jeff Beck, Prince, John Mayer, Kirk Hammett, and Isley Brothers. Jimi Hendrix grew up listening to Buddy Guy, Muddy Waters, and jazz music, all of which are audible in his early recordings. In addition to being one of the greatest guitar players to ever live, he was also one of the greatest performers. Hendrix was notorious for playing guitar with his teeth, setting instruments on fire and smashing them on stage. Bob Marley. Essential listening, Duppy Conqueror, 1971. Who he inspired, Immortal Technique, The Police, Zac Brown Band, and Ziggy Marley. Bob Marley sold more than 20 million records. As an ambassador for reggae music, he helped to spread Rastafari messaging through his songs and shone a spotlight on Jamaica and its politics. He additionally made reggae mainstream, paving the way for its international popularity throughout the United States, Britain, and Africa. Michael Jackson. Essential listening, Thriller, 1982. Who he inspired, Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, and Bruno Mars. In his musical career, Jackson broke the color barrier by being the first black artist on MTV. With his Billie Jean video, he determined a new method of production and promotion with Thriller, and he took home hundreds of awards. He also followed in the footsteps of greats like Nat King Cole, pushing the boundaries of what roles black men could acceptably occupy in American society, whether adored, wanted, or rebellious.
Good morning, beloved. Wake up with gratitude in your heart. Being grateful is cleansing. It is freeing. It is a state of being that makes you feel full, that makes your life full. Gratitude is the way to abundance. Be grateful. Wake up with a grateful heart. Don't forget, your gratitude will attract abundance. The only way to abundance is through gratitude. Thank you for joining me this morning. This is Coach Raquel with your morning inspiration. Have the best day. Smile the most today. Laugh heartily today. Embrace gratitude today. And live in a state of gratitude. Wake up with a heart of gratitude.
It's Umi Radio, touching your airwaves like something you've never heard before.
Umi Radio.
Listen to Umi Radio.
Are you ready for the weekend?
Weekends on UME Radio. Get the UME Radio app.
Weekends on UME Radio. The sun is up and so are we. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, all at UME Radio.
UME Radio. Positive entertainment 24/7. Subscribe on YouTube and click the notification bell.
It's Umi Radio, touching your airwaves like something you've never heard before.
Umi Radio.
Listen to UME Radio.
Get fit. Mind, body, and soul. With pro athlete, impact speaker, and performance coach Diondre Borel. Saturdays at 8:30 a.m.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Get Fit, Mind, Body, and Soul. I'm very thankful and grateful for today. My name is Diondre Borel, and I'm a former NFL player playing for 3 NFL teams. I've played overseas in Finland. Right now, currently, I'm founder and owner of the performance health and wellness business Create Elite LLC. Also an impact speaker, community leader, as well as a part of the nonprofit Minority Psychology Network. Okay. Our objective is to inspire, encourage, and help transform those lives from the youth to adults, the youth, high school, everybody. We want to be able to impact everybody here on this show. We want to talk about mental fitness, spiritual fitness, and physical fitness. So we're very grateful and thankful for today. And I want to start off with this verse here. It is Luke 6:38. Give, and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. So just very grateful for that. So we want to say thank you, God, for this morning. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the peace. Thank you for the joy. We're grateful to continue to love, to continue to pour into people, and continue, God, to fill us up before we pour out of an empty cup. So fill us up, Father God, in the name of Jesus, and just continue to protect us, keep us, and help us in areas that we need help in Jesus' name, amen. So definitely, we are here to help you start your fitness journey. We're here to inspire you and create an atmosphere to where you are transformed, you're changed. And, we'll do that through discussions, through interviews, through, articles, through sports articles, whatever we need to do, hot topics in the sports world to get you going and get you motivated and inspired and influenced. So we're very grateful for today. And, we have a couple of special guests, 2 special guests that are getting prepared to come on. And we're just grateful to have them. We have Michael Mosby and Jock Crawford. So, Jock, we're very thankful to have you. Jock Crawford is an NJCAA Offensive Player of the Year. He's entering his 9th year of professional sports, right? He's entering his 9th year. Can you hear me? Yes, sir. I can hear you. Can you hear me? He's entering his 9th year of professional sports. And he's played in 5 countries: USA, Finland, Brazil, Romania, and he's in Germany right now. So we're very grateful to have him here. Yes, sir, I can hear you.
I can't hear you for some reason.
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Hello.
So we're very grateful to have him here. Hopefully we get that sound fixed right now. But just a little bit more about Jock Crawford. He has signed a new contract to Berlin Thunder, the Berlin Thunder that's in Germany. He signed last year and played in the new ELF league. And this year he's playing again. So he signed a new contract this year. and just very grateful. 9th season. A little bit more about him. He also has played basketball overseas and ran track overseas. So that is an amazing thing. That's amazing. Good morning, Apostle Faith Walters. We're grateful to have you. Thankful to have you. It's a blessing. Hopefully we can get Jock back on here.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you. I had to take the headphones out.
Oh, yep, it's all good, man. We were just talking about you right now about man, you being an offensive player of the year, entering your 9th season as a pro athlete. And I love that you put that in your bio, because I was just talking about how you played basketball overseas professionally and ran track overseas. So we just want to hear a little bit more about right now about your career, just playing pro, and why did you decide to take your talent overseas?
I think for me, it was the opportunity. The end goal was always to get into the NFL, and unfortunately, that didn't happen for me for several reasons. But it kept my dream alive to have that option to go overseas and to continue playing, and ultimately, it turned into a great profession for me. I've been able to see the world, different countries, different cultures, and just allow myself to take advantage of that blessing that God granted me.
For sure, man. I'm very thankful. You're an amazing person, amazing athlete. Me and Jock actually met. Okay, and now we got Michael Mosby. Okay, Michael Mosby, here he is. Man, he's a father of 4. He's born in Memphis, Tennessee. Very excited to have you. He is a head football coach at Oak Haven High. Man, he's married to his beautiful wife, Shantae Mosby. Man, he's a musician. He does it all. Just very grateful to have him here. Welcome, Mike, to the Get Fit Mind, Body, and Soul. We're just talking to Jock about his background in sports and how he got into it and why he took his talent to overseas. So, Mike, since you're in here now, let's go ahead and introduce yourself and let the people know who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Man, cool. What's good? What's up, Jock Crawford, man?
What's going on?
Personally, man, I'm Coach Mike Mosby, man. People call me Coach Mike, some people call me Mike Mosby. However it go. Man, I am a lot of things amongst a lot of things. So man, currently I would say, well, let me start with I'm husband, father, man, have a beautiful wife, and man, 4 kids. Unfortunately, one of them is actually an angel baby. So, man, we have Mitchell, Madison, Michaela, and Micah, our angel baby, who we just celebrated. Man, her first birthday, man, on this past Tuesday. So that was an interesting situation. So I'm founder director, man, of Raising the Bar Community Development nonprofit organization. We're a 501c3 organization here in Memphis. Man, I'm a music director, man, entertainment director for several festivals, man, here in the city, man, several shows, multiple artists. Also a high school head football coach, man, which is one of my favorites. A high school head football coach. Man, I'm an arts administrator for the Memphis Music Initiative. And man, again, just a motivated speaker, man. Most importantly, man, I'm just a dude who made it out and man have committed my life to giving back to where it all started. Man, giving back to where it all started for sure.
For sure. That's a blessing. You see, you already know I got the Raising the Bar shirt on. I got the Raising the Bar. We raising the bar over here. So Jock, I want to ask you, if those of you that are in the show watching, Jock is also from Memphis, Tennessee. So it's a blessing how this comes around full circle and to meet these people. I met Jock in Green Bay when I was playing for the Packers. That's an amazing
Yeah,
thing.
2012.
2012. So, Jock, I want to ask you, what is AWSPA? AWWSPA. Explain what that is and let the people know what it's for.
So Allspa was created once I started my journey in Brazil. And what I found out was that in Brazil, their culture needs advocates for American football because they started playing football there around 2006. And so by this time, I've already graduated high school and had so much knowledge to give back. And so I was approached by current soccer players to teach them how to play American football, which is second nature to me. Well, first nature to me because I've been playing since I was 5. And so in Brazil, the economy isn't where it should be, and it's difficult for, just the average athlete to pay for elite training. And so I just felt like it was a good thing for me to be able to give back with something that God blessed me to do and place me in a place where my knowledge is needed. And so I came up and created AllSpa with the goal to bridge a gap with America and Brazil, and also create avenues and other ways for Americans who don't actually get that opportunity to go pro, NFL, college, whatever, to take advantage of this opportunity to go play and experience the world while doing something that you love. So I just wanted to put something together that will give back to the community, but also provide ways and opportunities for athletes to continue to play ball.
For sure, man. That's a blessing. Just from both of you, it's about giving back. And Mike, I know with raising the bar, man, what made you come up with make moves that count? That is the saying that sticks. Sometimes I want to say it, but I'm like, I gotta be careful because Mike got it trademarked. So make moves that count is trademark. So all y'all out there that's you can't use it. Is his, so he trademarked in this big. So go ahead and talk a little bit more about that.
Man, hey, you can definitely use it, man. Make sure you tag me or something, man. With the credit, man, I definitely trademarked it, man. That's interesting. Like make moves that count. Man, it came like man, I struggle a lot, man. I struggle a lot. Even like I moved out of the city, man. I came back to the city after man, just like some unfortunate situations happened, man, while I lived in Atlanta, and then I came back to the city, man. I was just on the grind, man. Like a lot of people thought that I was like, man, my Mike that came back promoter of the year, musician, man, going for it. No, man, I was just grinding. I was just grinding. I knew that I was going to continue to do raising the bar at some point. Man, I had that vision back in 2003, 4, and I told one of my homies, man, my homie Claiborne, I was like, yo, man, I'm gonna start a nonprofit. Well, I didn't say nonprofit at the time. Like, man, I'm gonna start this movement. It's gonna be, man, called Raising the Bar. Man, we're gonna be saving kids. I was like, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Man, I told him that 2004, man, and I got back to Memphis. So of course I started it as a program then in Memphis City schools, but I didn't know nothing about nonprofit. So like, man, I was able to learn much more about nonprofit when I was living in Atlanta. Man, thanks to man, a really good accountant friend of mine. But when I got back to Memphis, man, 2011, it was just a struggle, dog. I was struggling, man, and interesting. I was like playing gigs, was still struggling, throwing parties and shows, was still struggling. Man, I was just like, man, you gotta get back to purpose, dog. So like around 2013, 14, man, I decided I'm gonna get back to purpose. So I started going back, doing stuff in the schools, and man, just doing what I know I saw 2004. So I was in this particular relationship, and in the relationship, man, it was a very interesting ending to it. But man, the words that were said to me was, man, I think it's stupid that you going to schools for free. Man, that stuff don't count. Yada 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 yada. Like, I was like, okay, cool. So when that relationship ended, man, I was like, man, it's all good because this is my vision. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna make moves that count. And when I
Yes,
said it for the
sir.
first time, I was like, "Bam, that's it. That's a ring." So I
Yes.
immediately made it as a hashtag, and so many people like was like, "Yeah, man, that's, man, make moves that count, make moves that count." But sometimes you gotta be smart enough to know, man, like you gotta go ahead and stay ahead of the curve. So man, I immediately got to trademark process with it because I knew that it's gonna be a ring, man, and like we just really will make moves that count. Just getting started, like man, it's a mantra. So it's been a thing. Like a lot of people here in Memphis, they see me, they all say, "What's up, Mike?" They be like, "What's up, make moves that count." You know what I'm saying? So it's a ring though. Like so many people, so many celebrities, man, so many man, like folks have got the wristband, make moves that count. They shouted it out on their social media, man. They shouted it out with me standing right there, man. So it's a thing, man. It's a ring. It got a ring to it, but it's a way of life. Like, so it came from like a place of man, I was really struggling, but at the time nobody was really supportive other than family. So I was like, man, you know what? It's all right. We're not gonna we're gonna get active. We're gonna make moves that count, man. We're gonna make moves that count. So ever since then, I've kind of like adapted it, adopted it. That's my creed. That's where it's at with me.
For sure, man. That's a blessing, man. Just both of you. Like I said, it's about giving back. And I'm just thankful to know you all. Very grateful for you all. I met Mike, Coach Mike. It just came around full circle pretty fast. So I met him through the church I go to, Hope Church. And um man, even how that happened, met the pastor for the young adult singles ministry, Pastor Fondren, and then from that point, he introduced me. I went to an event on a Sunday, and he introduced me to Mike, and Mike was already heading to 7-on-7 in Kansas City. I believe it was 7-on-7 for the Chiefs, so he was directing that, head coach for the team, for the youth. So that's how we connected, and uh, he went into coaching. Coach Mike went into coaching, and just very grateful to be a part of that. And I want to just dive into, we're just going to have a discussion, short discussion of overcoming mental and physical and spiritual adversities. Just short answers of you guys going through things and seeing different things in your life. Just physical body change. It could be physical body change. It could be mental change. It's all fitness, right? Because we're all getting better as we grow. So as we grow, we want to get better physically, mentally, and spiritually, right? Because hey, we just want to operate at the highest level at where we are at. So just give a testimony or an experience, man, of how you've overcame adversity mentally, physically, and spiritually. And you guys can have a discussion with each other. We'll just feel free to talk when you want to talk and speak when you want to speak.
I mean, if Mike, if you want to go first, you can. Or if not, I don't mind taking the floor.
So
I guess I'll start it off. I guess for me, I had to overcome the whole mental, all of those aspects, because being in a position of offensive player of the year in college, you create this expectation for yourself that you're eventually going to go pro. And long story short, things didn't work out in my favor the way that I wanted to, and I suffered from depression, from not being happy and not being in the place that I wanted to be, and it resulted in me, drinking a lot and being lost in the world, and I ended up gaining so much weight. I gained almost 50 pounds from my playing weight. And
wow.
so once I got motivated to get back to playing, I had to lose that weight. I had to give up drinking and things that wasn't good for my body, and even friends that wasn't good for me, spiritually, and the goals that I had for myself. And I needed to do that and break away from those things to get right. And thanks be to God that I was able to isolate myself for a few years and get away from the norm, get away from what I was used to, and became uncomfortable. living in a different country for 4 or 5 years, not returning home, having to learn another language and or another way of living, but also taking advantage of it, and it matured me where I knew that I didn't need to drink, I didn't need to do this and do that, I didn't need to go party all the time to feel accepted, but do what God blessed me to do, which was to play ball. And people were drawn to me and my personality, and I started meeting, a majority of the right people that will keep me motivated, and started meeting people that I motivated. And for me, it was a tremendous blessing to get over that hump in my life, because it's not good to have a bad mental state where you want to give up on life in general. And I've been there, and so it's good to be able to be of influence and encourage others to see it through, and to you can beat adversity. Don't give up on your dreams. It may not work out the way you want to, but if you keep chasing it, eventually God's gonna place you where you need to be.
For sure, man. That's a blessing. That's a testimony right there, man. For real. That's a real testimony, bro. You done touched up on everything. And Mike, I know you got yours too. Man, I know you've been through a lot. We got a few minutes left, but man, just give what you have, man, what's on your heart, what's on your spirit, man, and let the people know what you've overcame, man, in every area of your life.
Man, like I can talk about the coaching aspect. I've been coaching since 2012. Since 2012, man, I can talk about the music. I can talk about, but I'm gonna talk about 2021. Like man, 2021, man. Last year was, man, a year, like for sure, for man, myself, for my family, for, man, like people that love me, man, it was a year, y'all. It was a real year. So you talk about having to have mental toughness, man. You talking about having to overcome, man, all things thrown your way, and man, it was last year, man. It was last year, like man, it was last year. Man, like I just told you guys, we have an angel baby, but that was February 15th, man. We gave birth, and our baby didn't make it, and that alone is like the way everything went down, man. I won't go in much detail for the sake of time, but it was not the greatest situation at all. And then, man, burying the baby, we buried a baby like March 1st, like a baby. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, man, April 3rd, my closest uncle died. Like, man, and then after that, it was just death after death after death, man. We experienced. I lost 3 uncles, 2 close friends, and a baby last year, all within 7 months, man. And like during that time, though, you still had to be strong enough for your family. Man, had to still be supportive for my wife for sure, man. I still stayed a community leader. I still stay active, man. Diondre, we still had camps. We still took boys, man, out of the town to 7-on-7 tournaments, and man, I still like went into the schools. I still like, man, just kept doing the work, man, and the work was actually part of my therapy. But however, man, like it's until today, like currently, it's just not the easiest thing to like deal with, and continue to go forward. You still have to, as a nonprofit executive, I still had to go to board meetings, still had to like, man, just be there. I still had to be all my roles, man. And I went to therapy. Like I started going to therapy, man. I went to counseling, grief counseling, mental health counseling, like, man, and still currently is going through that because, man, it's, but like it was tragic. Last year was tragic, for lack of better words. Last year was tragic, but like I got a book, Make Moves That Count, man. 21 Gems for the Driven. It's an ebook on Amazon, and it's just literally 21-day journal. And one of the journals, it says, man, commitment supersedes condition. And like I feel like, how we post stuff, man, Jock, what I'm saying? We may motivate people, get people lit or whatever, but then life will be like, I bet I'm gonna put you to the test. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that. 2021 was that, like life. I bet you're gonna stay committed. Your conditions is completely jacked up right now. Your conditions is your emotions is shot for all legit reasons. Like, bro, you done right now emotionally. So are you gonna stay committed? And it's one of those things. I was football practice plenty of times, and man, I would just walk the parking lot and cry, like sat on top of the press box and just cried. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things, dog. Like my commitment, I feel like God was like, yo, like I'm gonna honor you for your commitment, man, because your commitment definitely has superseded, man, these trials I done put you through. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I bet let's get through it. And two things for sure that I learned, man, after losing the baby, we had so many supporters, so many people were sending love from everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And like I had to tell people, man, stop sending flowers, bro. Like it was that. You know what I'm saying? It was just it was so much love. I told people the two biggest things I got out of last year, starting in back in February of 2021, was number one, nobody is exempt from life trials. Nobody is exempt from life trials and tests. It don't matter how much great work. It don't matter. Like my organization, we serve over 200 young black boys in the city. Man, that's great work. But that don't make us exempt. That don't make me personally exempt from life trials. Like that's whatever. You know what I'm saying? Jock, you're doing great work. Diondre, you're doing great work. And it's like, man, like no, it doesn't make us exempt. Like life gonna come and be like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Yo, I'm here. What you got, right? And that's number one. Nobody is exempt from life's trials. And number two, God gives the toughest battle to his strongest soldiers. Man, like so I was like, man, that's it. That's it, man. My homegirl told me that Miracle. My homegirl Miracle told me, she's like, Mike, don't worry about it, boy. God gives the toughest battle to his strongest soldiers. And when she said it, I was like, man, that was it. Those are two biggest lessons I learned from last year, man. And like legit, like when we going through the craziest stuff in our life, I was like, you know what? Consider yourself privileged. Like God consider us. Maybe we consider his strongest soldier. Consider us privileged. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it's 2021 was that year for me. Like, man, and all the things I've been through, all the street stuff, all the other stuff, none of that trumps last year for sure. So, man, that's it. That was I had to get that
That's a
mental tough.
blessing. That's a blessing, and that is true, because I've had my personal battles, and where we're going is where God wants us to go. So through all the experiences, we may not have had the ones we thought were supposed to be, but where God intended us to be, he's taking us because it's bigger than what we thought we were supposed to, where we thought we were supposed to go. Before we go, I'm going to read a few comments. We have Apostle Faith Walters. Well, she has one here, but we have one at the top. She said earlier, says, wow, powerful testimony. Look at God. He made it happen. Mr. Crawford, your situation was a comeback to fulfill the plan and purpose for your life. Her next comment says, we got to persevere in spite of. What a testimony. What an inspiration. Thank you for all this. UME Radio, commitment supersedes conditions. That's powerful. Entrepreneurs Allowed. Wow, I am inspired. Commitment supersedes conditions. Satin Brownie. Yes, speak. And Apostle Faith Walters, with all that you both do, how do you maintain balance between your family, spiritual, and career life? It's just a blessing to have you guys here. Very thankful and grateful for this. I can feel the Lord right now. So I'm very excited. I know, Jock, whenever you get the opportunity,
I want to chime in on that too. I want to backdoor you on that too. But after you finish, just something really quick though. Just speaking on how God works though.
For sure. I know we're getting towards the time right now, and again, like I'm very thankful for both of you. We are going to have a part 2. We need to have a part 2. We will have a part 2 because there's a lot to speak about. I know next time, we'll get some more questions on fitness with Jock, because he is a trainer as well, and Coach Mike with some mental fitness tips, some things that he has for us. So we're very grateful for you. Don't forget to like, share, and comment, and get ready for the next show. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be great, because greatness is who we are, and that's what we produce. Greatness. That's who God created us to be. Love you all. Stay blessed. Have a great day.
Our lives are transformed when our minds are renewed. A wealthy life is therefore the product of a wealthy mindset. Marcia Gay Miles. She is a lifestyle engineer and a digital wealth creator. Join her Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. for Wealth Mindset on UME Radio, WUMED New York.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. Happy Saturday, happy weekend, and welcome to the weekend show. Specifically, welcome to the Wealth Mindset Show with your girl, Marcia Gay Miles. Now, I love it. The intro pretty much gave you the quote that this show stands on, that our lives are transformed when our minds are absolutely renewed. So a wealthy life is therefore a product of a wealthy mindset. You know, a lot of us pursue wealth. A lot of us do desire wealth. If we're going to be honest with ourselves, we really do want to be wealthy, and not just financially, in all areas of our lives. However, it really does not start with where most of us start. So many of us start with the practical things, with the sweat equity, with the energy, with the learning, but it really starts with the right mindset. There's a book I want to quote right now, The Science of Getting Rich. And that book speaks that successful people do certain things in certain ways. So if you want a certain outcome, there are certain things you must do. And when it comes to wealth, you just need to learn what are the right things to do to be wealthy. And like I mentioned, one of the core and fundamental things you must do to generate wealth is to develop the right wealthy mindset. Now, I'm actually joining you all the way from Kingston, Jamaica. So big up to Jamaica, big up to the Caribbean. And I'm a lifestyle engineer. My professional background is engineering, but in all aspects of my life, I am engineering and re-engineering. And I'm also a digital wealth creator. So I absolutely love building my wealth portfolio digitally, hint, right? And I'm doing this from Jamaica to the world. And just like how we're streaming right now from Jamaica to the world. There's an observation I've had, however, as I've continued on this journey, is that so many people are getting it wrong when it comes to generating wealth. It's not just the fact that we need to know the practical steps, but we have to understand the spiritual steps and the mindset steps to generating wealth. So this show is really and truly positioned to ensure that we're helping all of us, because I struggle with it too. I'm on my journey, right? And I am absolutely excited for those who are listening in and watching in, that you are also on your journey. And I'm sure that this show is positioned to make sure that you understand that once your mind is properly set, you'll be set up to create the wealth you desire. Now, our hot topic for this week. Now, I am so excited for this topic. I am honestly letting you know personally, I am excited for this topic because it was one that eluded me. The concept of it, I didn't quite understand for such a long time. And when I finally got a grasp of what this meant, I realized, well, if I didn't understand, then there are so many of us that don't. You see, as I mentioned, my professional background is engineering, but I have gotten over the years to understand more about, financial matters and been implementing those skill sets to generating wealth for myself and for my family. And of course, for my children's children, just like how we want to make sure that our communities are empowered and equipped and educated to do the same for their children's children and generations to come. That's what this show is about. This topic is one that is super important. It is a recurring decibel right now. We keep hearing it here and there. There's a reason why we keep hearing it, because it's something that we have to understand so that we can position ourselves to truly, really generate wealth. We're going to talk about the inflation invasion, right? The inflation invasion. If you're listening and you're going, what did she just say? Did I just make that word up? I promise you I did not. Inflation. Now, I am extracting this article from an ABC News article that was published on February the 10th, right? Just a few days ago this year. The US inflation is at its highest in 40 years with no let up in sight. I'm going to repeat. That's the opening line of this title from the article from ABC News. US inflation highest in 40 years with no let up in sight. That's alarming. It really is. Now, let me put this into perspective, because one of the things that I'm passionate about is ensuring that complex matters, things that are going over our heads, are understood by the masses. But let me continue a little bit into this article. You see, inflation has soared over the past year, and it is at the highest rate in 4 decades, 40 years, hammering America's consumers, wiping out pay raises, and reinforcing the Federal Reserve's decision to begin raising borrowing rates across the economy. Inflation soared over the past year at its highest rate in 4 decades, right? I want to break all of that down for you. Let's bring it to simpler terms that everyone can understand, right? This article is saying this inflation that we're being invaded with is at its highest ever in the last 40 years. Okay, we understand that. What it is doing is for consumers, and it says America's consumers. I live in Jamaica. There's a saying that says, when America catches a cold, right, Jamaica starts to sneeze. The Caribbean starts to sneeze. You see, America is a first world country. We are third world countries in the same region. So once it affects them, it's going to affect us, and we are seeing the same results right now. And inflation is at its highest it's ever been right here in Jamaica as well. And what it is doing, according to this article, and it is doing it here locally as well, is that it is hammering us. Who is a consumer? Everyone that purchases anything in a country. That's a consumer. It's wiping out pay raises. What does that mean? Even though we're seeing increments, small increments in what you may be earning if you're working a salary, it's almost like it's not doing anything. That's what it's doing. And it's reinforcing the Federal Reserve. Now, the Federal Reserve is the central bank of America. We have one in Jamaica, the Bank of Jamaica. You see, those institutions are now going to have to make decisions for our economy. And one of the decisions they're making is to, hey, we're going to raise the borrowing rates, meaning if you need to take a loan, it's not going to be at the rate it was before. They're going to increase that interest rate. We spoke about loans before once on an episode, which means it's going to be more expensive to pay it back. I wanted to break that article out a little bit for you. I need you to understand, therefore, how the gravity of this conversation. And I'm actually going to step out of the way very quickly because I have so many opinions. I could speak so much on this particular topic. But you see, we're here to create wealth. So we're going to focus on the main thing. And we cannot no longer be victims, but rather victors. If we're being invaded by inflation, we have to intercept this invasion. So we're going to now go over to our topic of discussion, intercepting inflation with investing. Today, we're drawing a line in the sand and we're seeking to truly understand even more about inflation, how it affects us, and most importantly, what can we do about it? Because as you just heard, if I'm getting a pay raise, it's wiping it out. It's more expensive to live in the country as a consumer. It's more expensive to borrow and pay that back. Wow, what is this inflation? So I'm going to jump right into my special guest I have this morning, and I'm super excited to hear his perspective on this particular topic. Now, returning to the Wealth Mindset Show is financial analyst, a financial services professional. He is a portfolio manager with one of the leading investment institutions right here in Jamaica. He is the founder of Wealth Watch JA, and he's also a youth awardee. So he's a millennial Prime Minister Youth Awardee, Mr. Julian Morrison himself. And he's here to bring expertise, education, so that we can feel empowered and equipped to intercept this invasion of inflation. So, Julian, welcome to the conversation again. I'm so happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Marsha. It's always a great time, yeah?
Yes, it is. All right, so we're going to dive right into it because we only have a short period of time, and there's a lot that I want to peel back these layers on. Now, this topic of inflation. First of all, you are a financial professional. This is something you studied. You have the background, but that's a small percentage of individuals in our population, in the world, that really understands that perspective of inflation. So I want you to, for want of a better word, dumb it down for us, right? What is inflation?
Okay, so inflation is the general increase in the price level in the economy. So this can happen for a myriad of reasons. So let's think about inflation like a fever. Fevers occur in the body for different reasons. All fevers are not created equal, and I think we can agree on that. So you can get a fever that's really bad, you can get a fever that's mild, you can get a fever that's average. Same thing with inflation. You can get inflation that is mild, inflation that is severe, and inflation that is pretty much low. Now, what is important is for us to understand inflation within the context of what the central bank tries to achieve. Now, the central bank is basically the monetary authority of a country, and what they try to do is to achieve economic stability by containing inflation, trying to stop it from being too low or too high. And they do that by setting what is called an inflation target. Now, in the US, the inflation target is 2%, but the last inflation reading was 7.5% as of January 2022. So that's called a policy breach. Now, in Jamaica, inflation came in at 9.7% for January 2022, and our inflation target is between 4 and 6%. So we have a range. So essentially, both territories have breaches, but it's good for us to not only understand the size of inflation, but the source of inflation.
So, well, you see that's why I was excited for this episode, because I had no clue. So thank you so much for sharing that. So we are burning up according to your analogy of the fever. We have a very high fever. So with that being said, what causes it? What causes this such a high inflation? Why did we have a breach in policy?
Okay, so we essentially have a policy breach because of a few things. Firstly, we have supply chain disruptions, and what that means is we have a supply constraint relative to demand. So you said that I study economics. Trust me, it's not to overwhelm you, but just follow me here. In the short term, supply is fixed, right? Meaning that demand is more elastic than supply in the short term. So it means that it's easy for demand to move from point A to point B than supply. So what that means is when COVID restrictions are relaxed and we are allowed to return to normalcy, whatever that looks like, it means that when we return to our normal spending patterns, demand will flow to certain areas that it didn't flow to in 2020 and even parts of 2021. So that means that demand for travel, demand for movie tickets, demand for many other things, a whole basket of goods will change because our lifestyles have changed because of the change in the COVID restrictions. So demand is moving faster than supply, and supply cannot keep up. So that's partly because of the supply chain challenges, and that in and of itself is its own animal to look into. So here we have demand outpacing supply, and when demand is high and supply is low, the price will give way. So that means that everything that is constrained or limited, the prices for those respective items will rise. That's the first thing. The second thing is we have a very unique cycle of stimulus flowing in. When we talk about stimulus, we talk about support from authorities to essentially cover a gap in the economy. So essentially, because of the fallout, many persons lost their incomes, and there were businesses that had to have irregular periods of operating, so they needed some extra support. So the monetary authorities, they did what they could. They injected money into the system, both in the US and in Jamaica.
Right.
And also, in the case of the US more specifically, the US government essentially wrote checks to the population to help to cover whatever income gap there would have been. Right? We
Stimulus
call that
checks.
fiscal, that's right, fiscal
Mm-hmm.
stimulus. Now,
Right.
the importance of that is ties back to our first argument. It helps demand to stay at a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
So demand is not only elevated because of the relaxation of restrictions, but there are people who wouldn't have necessarily spent those funds in the pandemic, but they might be spending it now because those funds might be saved.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it would have gone into other areas like investment accounts or wherever else for those who have excess. But there are persons who might have saved who might be spending those funds now. So
Mm-hmm.
you have demand again rising faster than supply. We have oil prices rallying. Oil prices are rallying because of airplanes being more active than they were last year. And
Mm-hmm.
airplanes, the travel industry consumes a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we have demand rising faster than supply.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that oil travels on ships and bunkers
Mm-hmm.
in many cases because many people import oil. And we have the demand for oil rising faster than the supply of oil. So there are many things happening at the same time. Raw material prices are going up. So you're talking about wheat, you're talking about pretty much everything that can be used to create products and services. And that's also what causes the price of chicken to rise, for example, because you use wheat to feed the chickens so that they can actually be produced as poultry products later on down the line. So raw
Mm-hmm.
materials, energy, we're talking about all of these things happening together, which is why we have a policy breach.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. All of these
Right.
things are happening at the same time. Wow. And it's understandable when you just broke it down. I was like, true, true. We are seeing these things happening, but we didn't think of the chain reaction and how it happens, and then what it's going to do, how it affects us. We're not really putting those pieces together. So thank you for putting it all together for us just now. So now that we have this policy breach, this high fever, on that same analogy that you started with, how can we reduce the fever? Like, 9% in Jamaica, 7.5 in the US, that's way above anything that we would have had as a target. Like, how can we get this fever down? What can we do to cool things down?
Okay, so importantly, there are other types of inflation. So let me touch on that first before
Mm-hmm.
I get back here, because we need
Mm-hmm.
to put it into context.
Okay.
So what we mentioned is inflation driven by input prices and external factors, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, we have to import oil, we have to import raw materials because we don't always produce the raw materials that we need to produce
Right.
what we normally produce.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this is supply chain based, meaning that the inflation is external, it's coming in.
Ooh,
Now
okay.
there are other types of inflation. There are inflation formats that can be internal. So let's say, for example, we have a situation where there's too much money in the system, right? There's more money chasing the same set of goods. So let's say, for instance, we have $1 million, right? Just throwing things up. $1 million chasing 10 goods,
Mm-hmm.
just as an example. And realize that um, over the past year, that 1 million, because it has circulated and multiplied, has now become 1.5 million. But the amount of goods haven't moved as fast, right? So it's still close to 10 goods. So the cost of those 10 goods won't be the same because there's more money chasing the same goods. That is what we call demand push inflation. There's more money
Okay.
chasing the same or close to the same set of goods. That is internally based, right? Normally, what the central banks do to abate this is to step in and try to reduce the amount of money in the system. And they do that by increasing interest rates because
Ha.
the interest rate is the price of money,
Mm.
which means when something, right, is less abundant, the price of it is higher.
Mm-hmm.
When something is more abundant, the price of it is lower.
Right.
So what they're trying to do is reel in the money supply so that prices can come back down. right? Because they're trying to make money less abundant, right? So that the inflation can cool off there. So the thing is, we're not dealing with that specific case. We're not talking about demand push inflation. It's not coming from just demand. It's coming from external factors, which is what I mentioned before.
Okay.
So if you're dealing with external factors, right? It's not purely driven by demand. It's purely driven by external factors. There's very little interest rates can do to stop this kind of inflation.
Ooh.
So you have to match the type of inflation with the type of solution. So you asked us how we can address it, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, it's going to take a while to normalize because it's external.
Ooh.
So supply chains will have to normalize for prices to normalize, right? Because we have to allow the supply to catch up to the demand. And unfortunately, that's going to take a while. However, somebody asked me to wheel and come again.
Yes, wheel. I was about to say wheel.
Marsha, tell me where I lost people.
No, so you see, when you were explaining the different types of inflation, totally got you. And you were saying if they had the inflation been due to an internal one, due to wanting to, regulate the value, that's where I think that's where they wanted you to hit on that solution before you went into establishing, however, that ours is an external one. Touch back on the internal solutions again.
All right, let me touch that again. Yeah, she was talking. The viewer was talking about money supply.
Right.
So I was saying that interest rates are the price of money. All right, look at it this way: when you go to a bank and you borrow, they charge you an interest rate. It's actually the cost of borrowing. So money has a price, right? When interest rates are low, it means that money supply is high, right? Because when something is in high supply, it's cheaper. Follow? Anything at all, including money, right? So the level of interest rates matter in terms of money supply because it influences how much money is circulating through the economy.
Right.
When we have too much money circulating at once, it can cause prices to have a policy breach, right? It can cause prices to rise faster than we want.
Right.
And to prevent that from happening, we have to push the brakes. We push the brakes by taking some money out of the system. And we do that by increasing the interest rate. That's what happens. When you increase the interest rate, you press the brake on the economy. When you lower the interest rate, you press gas on the economy. Right now, the central bank is saying prices are moving too quickly and we need to press the brake. So they press the brake by increasing the interest rate. So for context, the Jamaican Central Bank, which is the Bank of Jamaica, they announced just yesterday evening that they're increasing the policy rate from 2.5% to 4%. It might not sound like a lot, but that's almost double. And what they're trying to do is pretty much pulling up the handbrake to say 9.7% inflation in Jamaica is way too high because it shouldn't even be above 6, and now it's close to 10. So that is why they would have taken that policy stance, and it ties back to what we're discussing. But that kind of scenario is most impacted, or most effective, I should say, when the inflation is internal.
Right.
Our inflation is not internal in this specific case. When we are importing raw materials, pretty much a lot of our food bill is constituted of oil and food in Jamaica specifically. When those prices are higher because of what's going on externally, there's very little that interest rates can do to stop that. That's the reality. That's the reality. The central bank might not say this, but that's the reality. If it was a case where the inflation was internal, simply because we had too much money circulating at once, then fine, interest rates would have a greater effect. But because it is external, the effect is going to be limited. We have to wait until supply chains normalize. In other words, the external factors will have to play out before prices come back in line.
Listen, Julian, I had so many more questions to ask you. And Julian, if it's okay with you, can we do a part 2 next week?
Sure.
Okay, because Julian, this was so valuable. And I have so many more questions now because I'm going, then why are we taking that action when that's not the real solution? But that's another question for another day. Julian, we want to wrap up. First of all, thank you, because you have brought so much clarity to me, and I'm sure to the viewers. You can see from the responses that the light bulbs went off. Somebody commented, listen, ding ding, learning activated. And so, Julian, before you go though, I want you to answer this question. What is a good beginner book or resource for us to start understanding a little bit more about inflation, or even a beginner resource to understand why investing, like open up our eyes around understanding these concepts of how money moves and so on from a beginner level? Why am I asking that? And why am I talking about investing, viewers? Because hint, hint, that's actually going to be a major solution for us. You see, you heard everything Julian just spoke about, and you're thinking, oh, central banks, oh, supply chain, oh, all of those are the big things above us. No, you see, what it's doing is now affecting us. That's why the article says it's canceling our pay raises. It's making it seem as if anything we do to get more money, it's not really going to be effective, because we're still experiencing higher prices, higher costs, higher interest rates, and so much more. So we need to do more with our monies. Our money flow needs to do so much more, and investing is the answer. So what's a good book? What's a good book, you say, as a beginner to open up our minds to understanding why investing is important?
Well, I don't know of one book specifically, but I can recommend a few.
Sure.
So there is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
There is also The Richest Man in Babylon. I think it's by George S. Clason.
Absolutely.
Right? And there are a few others. Because what happens is that these books, they might have different areas of emphasis and specialization, right?
Right.
But the key is to and here let me just highlight something specific that might not be in a book.
Right.
The key is to understand ourselves, because a lot of our issues are tied to money trauma, right? We have negative experiences with money, and there's very little investing courses and investing books can do to eradicate this. So we need to look into doing therapy within this context, talking about some of our discomfort around money, so we can start to address those areas so that we can have healthier spending patterns. And when we have healthier spending patterns, it will help us to be able to have more investable funds. So if I have money trauma that's unresolved and I'm reading all these investment books are going to seem like a mismatch. It's going to feel like a scam, or it doesn't make sense, especially with inflation at 9.7%.
Right.
So it's important for us to take a holistic approach with the books and with other areas of reflection and self-work.
Julian, icing on the cake. We're going to continue this conversation next week. We may need more than that too, because what you just touched on is absolutely a topic in itself of discussion. Julian, thank you so much for joining us. You can find Julian WealthWatch JA on Instagram, right? Any other handle for you?
It is Julian Invests. Julian Invests _. That's my handle. That's my handle on Twitter. That's my handle on IG, and of course WealthWatch JA as well.
Absolutely. Julian, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard it here on the Wealth Mindset Show. At the end of all that discussion, it went back to internal and, of course, our mindset. It's been your girl, Marsha Gay Miles. Thank you for joining us. I'm 100% sure you are inspired, educated. Come back next week. Watch this again and be prepared for next week's conversation. And you know what I love is that we are setting you up for so many more greater things, because right now joining us next is Shola Smith with business and branding. And as entrepreneurs, having experienced the impact of inflation, we now need to be set up with practical tips to now counter that and prepare ourselves for that. So I'm going to actually throw this now to Shola, as Shola is going to be joining you and blessing you with even more. God bless you. Hey, Shola.
Hey, how you doing, Marsha?
I'm doing absolutely amazing. I'm so excited to hear how you're going to help our entrepreneurs do even more. on
Absolutely,
your
absolutely. That was some great content that Mr. Julian, some great financial tips and understanding and clarity that he just shared. So I'm pretty excited about today's show.
She decided to jump, and it was the best decision she ever made. You are now tuned in to Business and Branding with Sho.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the weekend show. This is where we have open, honest growth conversations to inspire, to educate, and to bring awareness. Our hosts are experienced, we're authentic, and we're unafraid to say it like it is. We share experiences and expert knowledge on topics for the empowerment of our community. We encourage you to be the change, be open to learning new things, and be willing to do the work. We want to say a big, huge thank you to all of our partners, our subscribers, our supporters, and our listeners, and our viewers from all over the world. Today, we are looking forward to a great show. We had some amazing financial conversations with Marsha and Mr. Julian, and I was taking notes while I was listening into her show. And I want to say this. I want to just touch on this really, really quick. At the end of her show, he discussed what were the internal solutions to this problem. And one thing that he mentioned that stood out to me was a lot of our issues are tied to money trauma. Mic drop. That alone, I think, is how we start attacking the root of the issue as far as money trauma and finance, like financial, how do we view money? How do we view money? So today's show is really going to be more piggybacking on that as far as like the practical ways that we can invest as being an entrepreneur and also being a business owner. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Shola Smith. I am a 38-year-old entrepreneur. I have a beverage manufacturing company called Smith Blends, where we make all natural iced teas. The business is ran by myself and my mother. Hi, Mom. My mother, Michelle. And we have an amazing, innovative, creative concept of how we actually manufacture these drinks. We have a greenhouse in Palm Bay where we actually grow our own lemongrass, and then we convert it into iced teas with our Caribbean spices. My family is from Guyana, South America, so I am a Caribbean American, a woman. And Caribbean people work really, really hard. And I am always excited to just make sure that our community is empowered with the tools that we need in order to thrive and move forward, especially in business and especially in entrepreneurship, because ownership is very, very important. It's actually so much so important because during this time where everything in the world right now is kind of a little bit unstable, we have to figure it out, and we have to figure it out quick. So my goal and my hope and my prayer is today that I would be able to, provide you guys with a little bit of tips on how to invest as a business owner and an entrepreneur. And also keeping in mind with some of the material that Marsha did share and her guest, Mr. Julian, did share, is that we have to be aware that inflation is real. It's real. The cost of everything has gone up. So if the cost has gone up, we have to do one or two things. We have to figure out how to make some more money, and we also have to figure out where to spend our money. Where are we going to get the most bang for our buck? Where should we be putting and investing this money that we do have? Where are we going to get the maximum of return on our investment? And so the first thing I wanted to share with you is that one of the things that you should be doing is investing in your own business. So if you do have your own business, I would say that the safest place for you to invest would be into your own business. And that has to do with your time. That also has to do with your effort, and more importantly, that has to do with your money. Now, I can say from my experience of being an entrepreneur and actually running my own business and company, it takes a lot of dollars. You're constantly investing taking the profit and reinvesting it back into your business. And you don't want to look at it as I am losing out on anything. You want to see it as I am reinvesting the money that I'm making back into me, back into my ownership, back into my business. Because you see the bigger picture and you know the vision and you know exactly where you're headed and where you're going. But it does take time and it does take money and it does take financial literacy in order for you to kind of keep that thing going and keep it running, and in the end gain financial future prosperity. That's what being a business owner is. That's our goal. We want to make sure that our business thrives and we can leave a legacy for our family and for our children. Entrepreneur Allah said, please, mind open wide. Yes, mind open wide for this conversation. Please say it louder for the people in the back. Yes, we're going to say it louder for the people in the back. You want to make sure that you are investing in yourself. Ownership is pretty important. I'm not sure about you guys, but in the media, in today's time, there's so many conversations around ownership. It is important for us to own. Good morning, Satin. Satin says, money miseducation, misalignment. Absolutely. We have to figure this out. And we have the resources and the tools to do so. We just have to apply it and put it into action. So the other thing that I want to touch on is spending. How do you spend your money? If you have a wrong relationship with spending, it's going to be a lot harder for you to actually make sure this business is thriving or making sure that whatever project you're working on is thriving. How do you see spending? What is important to you? I look at spending as far as like my priorities. Now, what is priorities to me may not be priorities to you, but you want to make sure that you're putting your business first, and you want to make sure that you are also putting any project or any endeavors that you're working on, you want to make sure that you see it as a priority. So if you see it as a priority, don't go to Starbucks every day. And I know that it sounds so like, oh, Starbucks, but Starbucks, let me tell you something. When you're working on something, some of these things are luxuries. They're not necessities. So you spending, and I'm preaching to the choir, I'm preaching to myself. You spending $3 or $3.50 or $4 on your favorite Starbucks drink, and no offense to Starbucks, because we love Starbucks, but you spending it every single day. That adds up. We don't realize it because we're creatures of habit. That adds up. So if you are working on some goals, figure out where are you spending your money so that you can kind of cut back, so that you can use that money to invest into your business, right? Also, you want to make sure that you are saving liquid assets. You want to make sure that you are saving, that you have a comfortable savings in the event that anything were to happen, that you have enough to go and dip into. Now, being an entrepreneur, things happen all the time. You have to kind of like plan for the inevitable. So you want to make sure that you are resourceful, and you want to make sure that you're doing it consciously, just in case anything happens. So there you go, savings and liquid assets. The next thing that I want to talk about, which is really, really important, invest in yourself. Now, that takes time, money, and effort, but investing in yourself, self-development is the first start of being an entrepreneur. You have to develop yourself. I would say take leadership classes. Of course, you can go to school, or you can go to school to take some of these classes. Some of these courses they do have online. But you want to make sure that you're able to improve your skills, because that's only going to help you make better decisions in the end. So you can make financial investments in investing yourself and improving your skills, and that's going to help you make more money, because you're going to be able to utilize those skills and those tools in order to create more, right? They just talked about inflation. The prices of everything has gone up. So if it's gone up, that means we have to kind of make more money so that we can actually be ahead. And you don't want to cripple yourself. You don't want to miss out on any opportunities. You want to make sure that you are improving yourself and improving your skills for your business, and you're going to see it in your revenue. It's just that simple. If you follow the principles, it's going to end exactly how you set out for it to end. So the other thing that I want to say is invest in your team. Now, this is the catalyst point. If you have a team, you have a support system around you. You have people who are working with you in order for you to achieve your goal, right? Or complete the assignment. Not only do you want to invest in yourself, but you also want to invest in people who are helping you complete this assignment. And how you can do that is you can invest in courses. You can also invest in just time, talking to them, seeing how their goals fit and align with your goals, seeing where is the best fit, or how can I better support you in investing time and energy to helping you with your goals, which is going to help you with my goals, right? And so you want to make sure that you're investing in people. That is how you can provide another return in investment. The other part is that you want to make sure that the money that you do have, that you are investing in exposing your brand. Now, when I say exposing your brand, I'm talking about advertising, I'm talking about marketing, getting your name out there, I'm talking about networking. These are all things that you can do in order to get your business out there and to also make sure that your brand is well perceived in the marketplace. Now, exposing your brand can mean brand exposure. Investing in brand exposure can mean updating your business cards, right? You want to make sure that your branding is well across the board, consistent. Another way to invest in your brand would be investing in a graphic artist, right? A graphic design artist, someone that can visually present your brand to people in a visual aspect of what you believe your brand is, your vision, right? So they'll be able to translate it visually for you. That always goes off good because we're creatures of habit and we're human beings and we are visual beings. A sentence says, we spend money and boom, success. Well, the thing is that you want to make sure that you're spending money correctly so that way you can keep it. It's not enough to make it. We want to make sure that our community holds on to it. And I think that that's the issue that we've been facing. So we have highs and we have lows, but the end goal is you want to make sure that you're able to keep the money and you want to make sure that you're able to empower others. And I definitely want to just thank all of our viewers for engaging. Definitely share this information or share this broadcast with other people because this is the type of information that we really need in order to make sure that our community is strengthened. A sentence says, just as you have to self-care, you have to have business care. Absolutely. And this is part of it. All of these different tips that we do have every Saturday, we are reinforcing and encouraging you to make better decisions and better choices. And in doing so, that is only going to help your overall agenda, and which is to make sure that you have a successful, thriving business. I do want to go back to brand exposure because this is very, very important. When you are networking, you want to make sure that you are it's word of mouth, right? You want to make sure that you're able to introduce your business or what you have happening or going on, any projects that you're working on. You want to make sure that it's conveyed really, really well. And so my thing is, for my business, I have a branding and marketing background. Everyone is not privy to have that. However, you do not have to have a branding and marketing background in order to make sure that you have a stellar brand. Invest in brand identity, invest in an agency, or invest in different resources and tools that they do have online for brand development. It's not enough for you to have an idea. You actually have to build a brand around it. Brand development involving and exposure is critical, extremely critical, Satin, because that is your introduction to the marketplace. People think they pay for one thing and then that's it. Nothing else matters. Nope. It has to be consistent. So when we're talking about investing and where to put our money and where to put our dollars, invest in your brand. Invest in your brand. It will help you produce results. It will also help you get referrals that you weren't privy to anyway. And so you want to make sure that you strengthen your brand. You want to make sure that you're able to introduce this business and gain new customers and generate new leads. That is what all of these things will help you do. So I am very, very excited, not only with the financial aspect of the wealth part, having the wealth mindset of money, but also you want to make sure that you're taking the time to invest your time, your effort, and your finances inside of your business. Also, something else that Mr. Julian mentioned is therapy. Ooh, sometimes when we hear about therapy, we have a preconceived notion of therapy. I think that in this context, as far as finances, financial therapy, if that is a thing, I think that it's a great safe space to open up to kind of find out where these things are coming from. Find out exactly what is my deal with finances? Why am I having issues? Why does it feel, and this I'm talking from experience, why does it feel like the money is just coming straight through my hand? I can't really place where the money went. Where did it go? Where did it go? And you have all these things. You have to be disciplined. You have to make sure that your priorities are in order. So if you do have money coming in, and I always say, I do not recommend any entrepreneur to jump out of the window, quit their job. You have to do it in stages. It has to be done correctly, or you're going to feel it a lot harder. You want to make sure that you have an income coming in, because that is your livelihood, right? But when you do have your income coming in, budget. Know exactly where this money should go. Now you have your bills, and you guys can kind of check out some of the previous episodes as far as budget goes, but you want to make sure that you're taking care of your bills, but then there's also a percentage of that income that's coming in that you want to put towards your business or put towards your goals. Our money relationship is just like our people relationship. Ooh. We don't want to have to care for it. You just want it to do what you want when you want it. Money is no different from any other resource. You got to treat it with gratitude and respect. Money is a tool that can help you. It can help you build, just like you're building a house. You want to use those tools that you do have in order to build this beautiful structure. And that is what money is. Money does that for you. So you want to make sure that you're investing in it correctly. The therapy, as far as like finding out what makes you uncomfortable about money, I think it's a great start. That is actually a great start to finding out the root of the problem, but also discipline. Discipline is going to be one of your best tools in order to kind of get this thing in order. So again, we just want to reiterate, we want to invest in our own business. We also want to curb our spending. We also want to make sure that we have some savings and we have some liquid assets just in case, almost like an emergency fund, if you would have it. I would also recommend if you have a bank account, you can just put, and it doesn't have to be something large, guys. You can put $20 in there. Just keep on putting in there. The thing is don't take it out. Just keep on put it in there and saving. You also want to invest in yourself, and you want to make sure that you're bettering your skills and your abilities, right? And so whether that means you're going to take some classes, get some certifications, just empower yourself, that is an investment all by itself. Because you're investing in yourself, you are now the person that can take these skills and these tools, and now you can apply it. That's actually going to be greater to you than an actual, monetary investment. We want the monetary investment too, but we want the internal investment because that's what's going to change our mindset. If you have a business, you have to have a wealth mindset. That's it. There's no way around it. You also want to invest in your people, invest in your team, empower others that are around you. I do find that when I am working on a team, if everyone is in their element, we get to the goal a lot quicker than we would if everyone was just doing it individually. There is no I in team. I know that we hear it all the time and it sounds so cliche, but it's true, literally and figuratively. There is no I in team. Everyone is in this together. So if everyone is on the same page and everyone has same goals, right? And everyone has personal individual goals. And then we have a goal that is collective. If everyone works together in order to achieve this goal, we're going to be great. It's going to be golden. And then last but not least, you want to make sure that you are investing in increasing the awareness of your brand. So whether it's advertising, marketing, campaigning, your sales, networking, any articles or anything like that you want to do, any interviews, things like that, help you expand and expose your brand and what you have going on. Promotion, promotion, promotion. The goal is to get the word out about your business, and then the sales will start to generate, and then people will be able to be like, oh wow, she's doing this, she's doing that. I want to check out to see what's going on, and then they start following your journey. It's also better when you have a brand story attached to it, because people are always looking to hear what is the background story of your brand. A lot of us don't like money, but expect it to avail itself to us. A healthy relationship with money includes a meaningful appreciation of it. I will say this. I believe that we have just collectively as a whole society, I'm not pigeonholing anyone, but as a society, we have the wrong mindset about money. And I can say for myself living in the US, is that everything is about money. Money, 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 money. You're always hearing about money, money, money. And it makes it seem like money is so, you can reach it, it's so attainable. You can get it, fast money. You can get it, make a dime quick. If you do it the right way, you'll be able to hold on to it. And this is why we have this broadcast. This is why we have these shows, is so that we can make sure that we can hold on to it and we can keep it. So you have to condition yourself to have a healthy mindset around wealth, a healthy mindset around what you do with your money, and also a healthy mindset in how you invest that money that you have you want it to benefit you. Satin says, yep, I used to as well, and I had to invest in changing the mindset. It all goes back into the mindset. How do you think about money? How do you view money? Do you even know what the purpose of money is? Do you have any trauma, money trauma? He's given, and I'm so excited for next week because I will be there with my pen and my paper, my pen and paper to write down notes. Money trauma. It's no different than any type of psychological trauma, emotional trauma. Things happen all the time, but why are we not talking about money trauma? If our community cannot hold on to money, we need to be talking about why. Why is it that we're not able to hold on to this dollar, circulate it inside of our community? Why do we take our money and we invest it outside of our community? These are all questions and concerns that we do have that we need to talk about. This is a safe space in order to cultivate that so that we can make the changes, so that we can own the businesses, and we can also pay it forward and help someone else understand why it is so important to make wise decisions when it comes to investment. You know what's funny? This is from Satin. You know what's funny? I give away the lessons I learned for free and they get ignored. Wow. We have no clue what money is and how it moves. Money is not isolated. Money is not isolated from culture, people, friendship, things we do, words we use. Now, hey, I feel you in that way. I'm always an advocate for empowering people. However, I have learned over the course of years that you can only lead a horse to water. You can't force anyone to do it. Again, it comes back to the mindset. If you have the mindset and you get the information, even if you're getting the information for free, you have to apply it. Application is everything. And if you do not apply it, it's not going to work. You're just hearing, you're not doing. Faith without works is dead. You have to do something with the information that you're getting so that you can see the results that you would like to see. It's not going to fall out of thin air. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take work, and it's going to take effort, and it's going to take you conditioning your mind to have the right mindset. And we're giving you the tools here, right? You're finding it right here. So all you have to do is take the information that we're giving you and apply it. That's it. Don't ignore it, apply it. So thank you for that. That's right. That's right. Don't ignore it, apply it. Use the tools that you're being given and apply it for yourself. So that way you can go ahead and you can have a successful, thriving business. So I wanted to thank you guys today for tuning in. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you also support us in what we're doing. This is a community-funded broadcast. And we want to thank everyone from behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, all of the hosts, everyone that comes together week by week to, create this content in order to give you guys the tips and the tools for bettering yourself, bettering your mindset, and also bettering your business. I just want to close out with a prayer. God, we just thank you for today. We thank you for all of the ears that are tuned in, listening to us. We thank you for all of the viewers that are watching. If they get anything from this program, from this broadcast, God, we just ask you that you're able to set things in motion for them so that they can apply it and have an action plan. We're talking about the practical things and the practical ways of them applying this information so that they can complete your assignment, fulfill your will, and be a blessing to others. We thank you for an unusual amount of favor for all business owners and all entrepreneurs. We thank you that you will help them be disciplined in the way how they are spending, God. We know that you're the one who opens up the doors for us, and we thank you for the money and the resources and the tools that you have given us in order to complete your assignment and to do your will. God, we just want to say thank you. We thank you, we thank you, we thank you. And we just thank you that you cover everyone that is watching this call and watching this broadcast. In Jesus' name, amen. So we just want to thank you today for tuning in. Make sure that you are tuned in and you're following all the social media handles so that you can follow us and know that when we go live and when we're ready to broadcast. So have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
Are you an entrepreneur or business owner looking for ways to increase the business cash flow? Well, you're at the right place. Go grab your pen and paper, then let's begin. We'll be sharing with you 10 general funding opportunities, specifically for women of color. Please pay close attention to the dates, because the deadlines for some of them are close. To get more information on these and other grants, please go to umeradio.com/news. This information is courtesy of mycoachministry.com. Number 1. AT&T Black Future Maker. Black Future Makers are dedicated individuals pursuing greater possibilities for the greater good. Submit a video of 30 to 60 seconds or a photo on your Instagram feed. Tell us how you are pursuing greater possibilities for yourself and the community. Tag at ATT and use #DreamInBlack and #ATT contest. Winners are chosen monthly. Grants for $10,000. Apply by December 31st, 2022. Number 2. Boss Impact Funds Invest in Progress Grant. The organization will invest $10,000 in grants for 25 Black female for-profit business owners. In addition, the Boss Network and Sage will provide 1 year of monthly mentorship through the Boss Business University, marketing for each business, and guidance to help Black women achieve their goals, with everything that's needed to successfully start and grow a business. Apply by February 25, 2022. Number 3. Caress Dreams to Reality Fund. 60 women of color founders will be selected to receive grant money and access to resources that will set them up for success and reach their funding goals through crowdfunding campaigns. Grant for $5,000. Apply by March 4, 2022. $4. CCWC Women of Color Entrepreneur Grant. Corporate Council Women of Color will award 5 grants to women of color entrepreneurs. Your business is established as of January 1, 2020. Grants are $5,000. Number 5. City Trends. City Trends wants to advance and further the businesses of Black entrepreneurs with a $5,000 grant. Only available to residents of 30 U.S. states. Applications are due February 28, 2022. Number 6. Fearless Strivers. Open to black women who are legal U.S. residents, including DC, 18 years and older, and the principal owner of a U.S.-based small business. Grants for $10,000. Apply by December 31, 2022. Number 7. Rise Micro Grant. Each month, a $500 micro grant will be awarded to a for-profit small business owned by women of color. Past recipients used grants for computers, equipment, marketing materials, software purchase, website creation, and more. Number 8. Invoice 2 Go. Businesses must be minority-led, less than 5 years old, and have less than $1 million in annual revenue. The opportunity is open both to sole proprietors and businesses with employees. Grant for $10,000. Apply by February 28, 2022. Number 9. Kinetic Black Business Support Fund. Must be a black-owned small business in the state of Georgia, Charlotte, NC or Lexington, KY and receiving broadband internet services from Windstream. Grant for $2,500. Number 10. Silver and Reilly Women Entrepreneurship Grant. In this round, they are focusing on black women-owned businesses that have been in operation less than 3 years, that is, founded no earlier than February 2019. Grant for $2,000. Apply by February 28, 2022. That is today's Spotlight. Thanks to mycoachministry.com. For more information, please visit umeradio.com/news.
Install the Umi Radio app on your phone for timely updates and alerts on these and other opportunities. If you are looking for reliable support to help to grow your business, email us at info@umeradio.com.
And now for today's Spotlight. Umi Radio was originally founded in 2009. Back then, it was called Advanced Media Production. After winning first place in the Jamaica Broilers Fair Play Awards, the company ceased operations around 2012. In December 2018, the company was rebranded and brought back into operations with new ownership, and in February 2019, it launched its first radio station, Umi Radio, under the call sign WUME-DB, New York. Umi Radio is a digital radio station, owned and operated by UME Digital Media Inc., a digital studio and multimedia company, headquartered in Bronx, New York. Our brands are committed to inspiring, educating, and entertaining people through transformative and empowering content. Our mission is to reach 1 million households, touch 1 million lives, and showcase 1 million brands. Get the Umi Radio app for the full experience, available via your Apple and Google Play stores. If you want to listen on the web, you may go to app.umeradio.com or via our website at www.umeradio.com. Our content can be watched on Carib Vision. You can also listen in via Amazon Music, iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Google Podcast, Podbean, TuneU, Live 365, Spotify, Stitcher Player, FM Listen Notes. For all business inquiries, contact us at info@umeradio.com. This station is 100% community funded. To support us, please visit umeradio.com/get involved. Subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere online at UME Radio. Thank you for supporting us. UME Radio, positive entertainment 24/7.
Apostle Faith Live, with children, reading Bible stories. To be on the show, go to wamo.org/media to apply.
Tune in every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. For every child, everywhere. Do not miss out on the fun.
Keep watching.
Good morning, children. How's everybody doing today? Are you ready for another time, another show to hear about the greatest story ever told?
Yes!
Long ago, in a place called Nazareth, there lived a young woman named Mary. What was her name?
Mary.
And who was she supposed to be?
Jesus' mother.
That's right. You gotta talk loud. Okay? And did you remember the age of Mary? She was a little girl. She was between ages 12 and 14. Okay? She was engaged to be married to Joseph, a carpenter, and loved to daydream about their future life together. When you daydream, what are you doing? Yes, you're just really thinking about things, fun things. One day, as she swept her yard, Mary noticed a stranger smiling at her. She didn't know who it was, and she was frightened. My name is Gabriel. And who was Gabriel again? An angel. Yes, very good. Yes. Excellent. Yes. The stranger, I have brought you a message from God. Mary was too amazed to speak. Don't be afraid, said Gabriel. God has chosen you to do something special for him. Soon you will have a baby. He will be God's own son, and he will be king. You ought to call him Jesus. Mary trusted God, so she agreed to do what he asked of her. But Joseph, Blue, felt upset. Yeah, show me when you're upset. There you go. Because he knew he wasn't the father of the baby. Would you be upset as well? Yes. I love Mary, but I don't know if I should still marry her, he thought. So he prayed to God for help. He wanted God to make sure you're doing the right thing and not change his mind concerning Mary. Because Mary was a special girl that was chosen by the Lord. Right? Chosen by the Lord to do what? To carry Jesus. Yes, very good. God heard his prayers, and that night he sent an angel to visit Joseph in a dream. The angel was gentle and kind. Do not worry, Joseph, he said. You should marry Mary and love her as your wife. She is the most special of women, chosen by God to be the mother of his son. The baby will be named. What's the baby will be named?
Jesus.
Yes, talk it out.
Jesus.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes. Which means Savior. Because he will save his people from their sins. Everybody got it. Very good. When Joseph woke up, he decided to marry Mary right away. I trust in God, he said. So Mary and Joseph were married, and they waited patiently for the baby to arrive. See? They got married.
Wow, look at that.
Yes.
You see the angels?
Yes. Point to it.
You see the angels?
Dove.
Who's this?
Yes.
Who's this? Whose hands is this?
But I know that is. And who's this right here?
Mary.
Yes, Mary be pregnant, and they got doves represent they got married. Okay? Angelic doves. Okay. Soon after the wedding, Emperor Augustus, who ruled over the land where Mary and Joseph lived, decided to make a list of all the people in his empire to make sure they paid their taxes. He sent out orders throughout his messengers to every town and city in the land. Everybody must travel back to the place they were born to be counted, said the messengers. Joseph had been born in Bethlehem, far away from Nazareth. My wife can't travel now. She's going to have a baby soon. Joseph said to this messenger, she should stay home in comfort and not travel far away. Can we go to Bethlehem another time? The messenger shook his head. No, he said sternly. This is the emperor's order. You must go now. The journey to Bethlehem took many days. The roads were bone dry and thirsty, and the sun beat down. Often Mary had to stop and rest. So tired. Because she's pregnant. She's carrying a child. Can you travel so far to go back home to where you came from? You're in another place and you're carrying extra weight. Can you carry all that and travel and be where you gotta go in time?
No.
You think she'll make it?
No.
We'll see. At last, late one night, they arrived in Bethlehem. They finally made it. Joseph looked at Mary and saw how tired she was. We'll find a place to stay for the night, he reassured her. But Bethlehem was packed with people who had followed the emperor's orders, and every inn they tried was full. You know, when I was reading that, I wondered to myself, that wasn't a setup.
Right.
You ever think about that?
Yes.
You know, because all of a sudden now they wanted the family to go back to a place where they came from,
Right.
okay, to be counted. They're not living there anymore, okay, and now they got to go back, okay? So that's something strategically set up. So the king set this up so as to rearrange everything. So the order of how Jesus' birth going to take place is going to be specific, it's going to be special, it's going to be unique, okay? So he is not going to be, you think he's going to be born in an inn or in a hotel? No. So this is strategically set up. They reached the very last inn in town, but the innkeeper said, there is no room. You'll have to try somewhere else. What can we do? Pleaded Mary. My baby is coming soon. The innkeeper was a kind man and saw how tired Mary was. Come with me, he said. I have a place that might do. Isn't he a nice innkeeper? Yes. The innkeeper led them to a barn behind the inn. I know it's not much, said the innkeeper, but it's warm and dry. Would that be all right for baby Jesus? Yes. Mary and Joseph looked inside. The barn was filled with animals and the floor was covered with fresh hay. My baby will be safe here, said Mary. Thank you for your kindness. Later that night, Mary gave birth to a little boy, the Son of God. Just as the angel had said, Joseph lined the manger with fresh hay to make a soft bed. Mary wrapped the baby in the blanket and laid him down gently. We will love you and care for you, little one, and we will call you Jesus, whispered Mary. So my co-host is going to point to all the pictures.
Wow, look. Okay, look at Jesus.
Blue.
Think of Mary.
Okay, blue.
Joseph. And the baby. There's the baby.
What's
right?
his name?
Jesus.
Okay.
And there are all the animals, right? Looking on Jesus. See?
Anybody see any chickens in the story?
Yeah, there's some chickens,
all
right?
Okay, let's see. What do we see over here?
Horse.
Okay, horse is very good. Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. High on the hillside nearby, some shepherds were looking after their sheep. The night was dark and still, and the sheep were dozing peacefully. Suddenly there was a dazzling brightness in the sky, and an angel appeared. What's happening? Cried the shepherds, huddling together in fear. Oh my God, what is this? Oh my gosh. Do not be afraid, said the angel. I have the most wonderful news for you and for all the people on earth. The Son of God has been born in Bethlehem. Blue, you hear it?
Listen, what?
He is the King who will save humankind just as God promised. More angels appeared and sang, Glory to God!
Wow.
And peace to everyone on earth. Hey, yay! They are singing. They are happy that Jesus Christ is born. Then suddenly the angels were gone. The shepherds looked at each other in wonder.
Hallelujah.
Ah, hallelujah. Amen. Yes. Yes. Can it be true? Said one shepherd to another. Without a doubt, the second shepherd replied, we must go to Bethlehem and see the baby at once. The angels ran down the hillside and through the dark streets of Bethlehem. They ran and ran until at last they heard a baby's cry and found the barn where Jesus was sleeping. He was such a nice little baby, wasn't he?
Yes.
We have come to see the new king, said Joseph. excitedly. They told Joseph excitedly. God sent an angel to tell us about him. You are all welcome, said Joseph. So the shepherds went inside and saw Mary with a tiny baby in the manger. Wonderful, said the first shepherd. Our Savior, said the second, as they kneeled too great to gaze at him. We are poor, but we have no gift for him. They said to Mary, all we have to give him is our love. That is the very best gift in the world, said Mary. Soon it was time for the shepherds to return to their sheep. They were so excited that they told everyone they met about the new king. Oh, Blue, you hearing this? Who's the new king?
Hallelujah.
Yes, who's the new king?
Jesus.
Yes, very good. Excellent. Yes. That same night, a new star appeared in the sky. Point to the star for me, please, my
This is a star.
You see the star?
That's a star.
Yes,
Yes.
a star. Yes.
Mhm.
In a far-off land, 3 wise men looked up and saw it. They knew it meant that something very special had happened. This star must be a sign from God. It is shining because a new king has been born. Just as he promised years ago, said the first, we must go at once and worship him.
Hallelujah.
Perhaps the star will lead us to the baby, said the second.
Hallelujah.
Let us take the most special gifts,
Hallelujah.
said the third. Gifts fit for a king. Hallelujah. Yes. Without delay, the wise men packed their bags, climbed on the camels, and rode off toward the city of Jerusalem.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen. They were sure they would find a new king there at the palace. Where else would the king be but in the finest of places, they said to each other. So who are these people right here? Who are these people? They're the 3 wise men. That's right. And who were they looking for? Who were they looking for? Yes.
Jesus.
And who told them about Jesus? Did they know Jesus? So who told them? Who appeared to them and told them about Jesus?
The devil.
No, the devil wouldn't do that.
Who
came to them?
The
An
Lord.
angel. An angel came to them. Yes. And angel Gabriel came to them and told them to come and meet Jesus. Yes. All right. So they traveled. So they thought he was in a special place. They thought that he was going to be in a fancy place. Was Jesus born in a fancy place? No, he wasn't. Where is he born?
In a barn.
Yes, that's right. Talking loud.
In a barn.
Yes, he was. That's right. The wise men traveled across many deserts for many nights until they finally arrived at Jerusalem. They went to the palace and asked the guards to take them to the ruler, King Herod. Remember King Herod? Okay. Where is the new king? They asked him. We have traveled far, following the new star that appeared on the night of his birth. Now King Herod was shocked. Why was he shocked?
Because he didn't like Jesus to be the new king.
Yes. He thought he was the what? The only king. He thought he should be the only king. There should be nobody else besides me. Was Herod being selfish?
No.
Yes, he was very selfish. How can he just be you alone? There can be other kings.
There's many kings in the desert.
That's right. You got to share. Yes, Boo.
My dad's a hacker.
Huh?
My dad's a hacker.
Okay, whatever that is. Your dad is a king?
Dad's a hacker.
He's a what? Okay.
Yes, king. That's king.
Okay, all right.
Dad's a hacker.
Your dad's name is King. That's right. Very good.
Dad's a hacker.
Okay. All right, why are you saying that? Who is this new king they speak of? He whispered to his advisor. A prophet once said that one day a new king would be born in Bethlehem, said the advisor. This must not be, Herod thought to himself. I want to worship him too. Is that the truth? Was he telling the truth? No, he wasn't telling the truth. Herod lied to the wise men. Go to Bethlehem, then come back and tell me where he is. Herod planned to stop the baby from taking his throne. You think Herod could do that? Because with God, all things are possible. Okay? So God will not allow Herod to hurt his child. Okay? The wise men set off again into the night and traveled to Bethlehem, where the star led them to Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. We have come to see the new king, they said to Joseph. You are most welcome, said Joseph. The wise men stepped inside and saw Mary with her tiny baby, the Son of God. Quietly, the wise men kneeled down to give the baby their gifts. Here is precious gold, said the first. I have brought sweet-smelling frankincense, said the second. And this is myrrh, a healing oil, said the third. You will be a great king, a teacher, a leader, and you will save all the people of the earth. They said to Jesus together. Then the wise men said goodbye and found a place to rest before starting their journey home. Do you see all the gifts? Point to all the gifts?
Okay. See?
You got gold.
The gold.
Frankincense
and the
myrrh.
Okay.
And
the three. Well, who gave it to Jesus?
Yes.
Who gave those gifts to Jesus?
Yes.
Wise men.
Wise men. Very good. Excellent. You're doing very well. Very well. While the wise men slept, God visited each of them in a dream. He warned them not to return to Herod. Why did he tell them not to return to Herod? What Herod wanted to do to Jesus? Yes. So they told them, don't go back that way because Herod is trying to harm the baby Jesus. So in the morning, the wise men went straight home and did not return to Jerusalem. When the king Herod learned that the wise men had disobeyed him, he was what? Angry. Yes, he was furious. How dare they do that to me? I am the king. How dare they? Oh, guess what? We'll see about this. I'm the only king, he roared. I will not let this baby take my throne. Jesus was not safe in Bethlehem now, so God sent an angel to visit Joseph while he slept. You must wake up, the angel said to Joseph. Escape to Egypt, where you will be safe. Stay there until I tell you to come back. Joseph woke Mary, and they quickly loaded the belongings onto the donkey. Then with Mary carrying Jesus tightly in their arms, they set off into the night. They're running away. Yes. Jesus was safe in Egypt, and he lived there peacefully with Mary and Joseph for some years. His parents missed their home in Nazareth, but while King Herod was alive, they knew they could not return. Then one day Herod died, and Joseph had a dream. An angel appeared to him and said, Joseph, it is safe for you to return home. Joseph and Mary were overjoyed. They were happy. Clap your hands. Yes. Hallelujah. Blue. Come on. Blue. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yes. Hallelujah. Yes. They packed up all their belongings and set off once more with Jesus by their side. When they arrived, they were glad to be back in their hometown at last. Joseph told Jesus as he stood in the doorway of their little house, this is Nazareth, the town where we will grow up. He said with a smile, welcome home, Jesus. Come on, clap your hands. All right. Blue, sit down. All right. Beautiful. Welcome home. They finally came back home.
Oh, yes.
To where they belong. And because they were able to do that, it's a good thing they're able to come back home. That way they could live their lives.
With their baby, right?
Yes, in peace. Okay? And they were very happy. They were overjoyed. They were so ecstatic that they were able to come back to be in a place where the little boy, Jesus grew up to be a man.
I drove a barn.
Oh, very
nice.
Excellent.
Good.
Beautiful. Oh, beautiful. That's very
okay,
excellent.
Blue. Your turn.
Okay, your turn, Blue.
What is it that you drew?
What is it you drew?
A rainbow.
A rainbow.
A rainbow. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Wow.
That's beautiful. Look at all those colors.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Pretty
It's
rainbow.
Wonderful. Okay, so Jesus represent a rainbow? Huh? Okay. Okay, did you say you was going to put a pool there too? They said Jesus was born near a pool? Is that what you're saying as well? Okay, all right, so you say a rainbow, okay. All right, we accept it. All right, thank you, Blue.
I put a pool next to the rainbow.
You put a pool next to the rainbow. Okay, thank you. You didn't?
The pool supposed to be right here.
Oh, okay, but you changed your mind? Okay, thank you so much.
Right, very good.
Beautiful. All right, Sister Lonnie, you want to pray so we can close our session?
Yes.
Me, I want to
You want to come
pray.
and pray? Okay.
I want to pray.
Oh, you want to pray? Okay, what you going to pray? Okay, let's pray. Okay, you going to pray? Say you want to pray.
I want to pray.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Lonnie. Go on.
Thank God that we stayed here and read a story and read about God and Jesus. And thank the Holy Spirit. Thank the Holy Spirit that we have God. That we have God. Amen.
Amen. Praise God. Praise God.
Yes.
God bless everyone. Thank you so much for joining in today. This is Apostle Faith Live with my co-host, Mr. Marilyn Tappan, and we have my little children here, Sister London and Blue. And we're thankful that everybody joined in, and we pray that you were blessed by this segment. And we will meet again very soon. And God bless you. Enjoy your day. And know that I love you and Jesus loves you too. You can also see us on YouTube and Facebook and all your social media networks. You can call us. I wanted to share my story and to share the love of Jesus and just share and let people understand that no matter what walks of life you come from, you could be somebody, you could be what God designed you to be.
Absolutely. Wow, that's wonderful. How long have you been living in New York, and what has that experience been like for you?
Wow, I've been in New York for approximately 50 years. I've been here since about 9 years old. I came here in April 1971. And I've gone through a lot of the echelons of different parts of New York. I've traveled out of New York, but I've never really officially left New York, moved away and came back. I've always been here. I love the atmosphere. I mean, it has ups and downs and different things that happen, from time to time. But I love the lights. I love the excitement, the movement. The pace. You have the suburbs. I'm in the suburbs, and they also have the city. So the city is called the Big Apple. They said the city never sleeps. So I enjoy the balance, the excitement and the atmosphere, the colors, the skill, the way the people, they do the designs. I love even the bridges, the way they design them. I just love the lights, different things at nighttime, So it's a lot of things to do in New York. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes I go to different states, and I always get so excited to come back because in New York, you always have something to do. always something to do. On every corner, there's a store. You don't have to travel too far. You could walk, you could run, you could skip, you could hop. You could drive. It's a choice. You could take a train, you could take a bus, you could take the subway, different ways to get around New York. So it makes it so much easier and much more fun and so much intriguing and so enlightening to everybody that comes here.
Wow, that's wonderful. You're very studied. You have several degrees, and you've also worked in the education sector there for, I think it's in excess of 20 years. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. Tell us about the educational experience that you've had there, both when you were having your learning experience as well as when you were contributing to other people's learning experience. What was that like for you in New York?
Well, I'm not sure if I said this before, but I started teaching from I was a very young girl. I was about 14 years old. And I didn't really have a passion for teaching until later on down the road. But my passion was to become a secretary. But I used to teach in when my father was a pastor in Yonkers, New York. I used to teach the Sunday school there, and I used to enjoy teaching the little children from ages, they were like baby stages to about 9 years old. So I had a lot of fun doing it, but I never thought that I would do that as a profession. And so one of my greatest gifts at that time was to become a typist. I had a great teacher in high school, Miss Henry, and she really taught me how to type. So that was one of my biggest things I wanted to do for the rest of my life, become an executive secretary. But it so happened as I was being in that arena, I graduated with an associate degree in general business administration from Mercy College, and I was pursuing that career. But for some reason, every time I was in a company or whatever it is, the company was either closing down or something else was going on. So some way, something kept telling me that maybe this is not where I needed to be. But at some point, I was there for some reasons because of some things that were happening in my life at that time. So at the last company I was at, I said to the Lord, I said, God, I've done what I desired to do. What is it you want me to do? So it just popped into my head. The answer just came immediately, become a teacher. So I never thought about that. And I said, Lord, I don't know if I have the skill set to do that, because of what was spoken into my life at a very young age and negatives that were spoken into my life. And the Lord said to me, don't worry about it. I'll give you all the knowledge you need to do this.
It's Umi Radio, touching your airwaves like something you've never heard before.
Umi Radio.
Listen to Umi Radio.
Every day is a new beginning. Meet Jessie, your community health advocate. The Light Within. Tune in every Saturday.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our ever-evolving show as we aim to become the change, the solution, and the advocate for empowerment in our community. Thank you for joining me on The Light Within. This is a show where we highlight stories of hope within the community. We interview community leaders, charitable organizations, and other service providers who provide solutions to inspire hope and bring solutions to the Black community. I'm Jessie. I'm currently completing my certification as an orthoptist. I'm a poet, a published author, and my book is available on all platforms such as Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And it is called Laced in Love. And I want to share with you what I woke up to this amazing review on February 17th. And I'll show my book here just so you can see it. It is called Laced in Love, and this review is a verified purchase, 5 out of 5 stars. And this person says, quote, if you have someone dear to your heart, but can't find the words to express how you feel about them, then pick up Laced in Love by Jesslyn Abel. Laced in Love is the resurrecting of the Harlem Renaissance. Her words are warm and heartfelt. This is what lovers need today. I'm so very thankful and grateful. It was amazing to wake up to that. I love it. I am also a media health advocate. Yes, I do a lot. And this role is very close to my heart. And with that being said, let's begin. Today's topic is very important, so I need you to stay with me throughout the show, okay? We have a very special guest with us today, creator of the Fearless Movement. But just before she comes on, let's have a look at the World Health Organization's week ahead in health. So we're going to start with this coming Monday, February 21st, launch of Joint WHO and ILO Guide, a new joint World Health Organization and International Labor Organization guide entitled Caring for Those Who Care, Guide for the Development and Implementation of Occupational Health and Safety Programs for Health Workers, launches Monday. This report, executive summary, and news release will be available at who.int at 9 CET Monday. Both organizations are calling for a system-wide improvements in the protection of health, safety, and well-being of health workers in the recovery from C-19. The publication provides guidance on how the management of health and safety at work in the health sector can further be improved and sustained through efforts headed by national government, employers, and health workers representatives. There's also be a virtual press conference, VPC, launch of landmark new WHO/UNICEF report on formula milk marketing. This report will be on February 23rd, 2022. And a special embargoed press conference will discuss the findings of a landmark new report on aggressive marketing of formula milk. The largest study of its kind, this report draws on experiences of over 8,500 women and 300 health professionals across 8 countries. It exposes the invasive marketing practices used by the formula milk industry, violating international standards, and highlights impacts on families. Decisions about how to feed their babies and young children. Visit WHO-INT for more information. We have Satin Brownie that says milk marketing ? Also states, wow, interesting information. Thanks for sharing. You are so very welcome. Also, that's coming up on Wednesday, February 23rd, is a report. So we'll also launch a report and also a visual press conference. So both of those will happen on February 23rd. Stay tuned for that. February 24th to the 25th, there'll be COVID-19 Global Research and Innovation Forum, who is hosting the 3rd C19 Global Research and Innovation Forum next Thursday and Friday. That's at 13 o'clock to 18 o'clock CET on both days. You do not have to register to join. The forum will be streamed live. So go to WHO, that's WHO.INT / for more information. The virtual event will bring together diverse C19 research scientists, regulatory experts, funders, member states, policymakers, and other experts. We will discuss strategies about the future of C19 research. The forum will include scientific presentations and discussions that will focus on different areas of research. Moreover, there will be keynote presentations and panel discussions on how research can help to end this pandemic and prepare for future pandemics. There, last but not least, there will be a meeting on the composition of influenza virus vaccines for use in 2022 and 23 Northern Hemisphere influenza season. Following a 4-day consultation with an Following a 4-day consultation with an advisory group of experts who will hold a virtual information meeting on the composition of influenza viruses vaccines for use in 2022 to 2023. That will be on Friday from 10 o'clock to 13 o'clock. Now, registration was required, but it's free of charge. You need to register and go send an email to, I'm going to say this, GISRS-WHOHQ@WHO.INT. More information on this will be listed at who.int//. So if any of those meetings and discussions that's happening next week seem of interest to you, go to who.int// for more information. Now, today's special guest is Tina Fears, creator of the Fearless Movement. Tina is the show, was the business, owner of an award-winning production company, Stage Ready. She's also been seen in Simply Simone, Dreamgirls, In the Heights, and commercials for Walmart, Ford, Home Depot, and Coca-Cola. Her role as Clara Ward in the Emmy-nominated Genius, Aretha, is now on Hulu. Please support her at Tina Fears on Instagram and go to her website, tinafears.com. Today we'll be talking about the Fearless Movement. Welcome, Miss Fears. I am so happy to have you on. I love your outfit. I love your hair. To our listeners who are listening, she's rocking, she's giving like Diana Ross right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
I absolutely love it. So I want to get started. What's the story behind the Fearless Movement? Where did it come from? Where did it originate?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. The Fearless Movement is the service extension of the Tina Fears brand. I am the show and the business. I'm the business because I own an entertainment company, and I am the show because I'm also a performer, television and film actor, and I do theater as well. But in the midst of the way of making a living and the things that I love, my testimony and my journey of being fearless in the pursuit of what sets my soul on fire is how I encourage other people via public speaking, via service initiatives. And so the Fearless Movement was really birthed out of, we all have a testimony, and through pursuing my career endeavors and just evolving as a woman, I've experienced trauma, tremendous failure, downfall, disappointment. But I always knew that I was called to something greater. And ironically, my husband's last name is Fears. So Fears is my married name, but it just seems like the idea of being fearless was just destined for me, and so I created the organization probably about 5 years ago. And each year, the Lord has really created different ways where I can activate the idea of the Fearless Movement in various ways. So like I said, I just did a Valentine's Day ball here in Atlanta where they had me as their keynote speaker. It was a really great opportunity to just get in front of women from all walks of life, all age ranges, and just pour into people. And there's also been times when we've done service projects specifically curated for young women that are in transition, maybe don't have traditional housing. The homelessness in Atlanta, and that's where I live, is not what people may think homelessness looks like. There are so many people, especially with the housing price increasing, who are displaced. If you do not have a physical address where you receive mail, you are considered homeless. So it's not necessarily being on the side of the roads or living in tents under bridges. If you don't have an address where you receive mail, you're considered homeless. And so in the midst of all of that, things like sanitary items, things like hygiene items, things like what you may need to just pull yourself together enough to go to work are necessities. And so the Fearless Movement has really been blessed by a lot of our community partners, where when we call for donations, people give, and we are able to bless these women, who are in need, because so many of us are one paycheck away from homelessness or being displaced or being in transition. And so creating an idea of community is just something that's important to me, and just being vulnerable and sharing my experiences of success and failure. So that's a little bit about how the Fearless Movement was started. I didn't want to just be a creative who, when great things happen, people always just saw that. I want people to also know that I come from a place of service, and I am such a faith-forward woman in everything that I do. I want people to be able to see the authenticity in that through the Fearless Movement.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I love that you have it, because a lot of people don't have in their community that sense of security and someone being a leader to know, okay, she went through this. I can go through this. It may be a process, but I can go through this.
Right.
We have Satin Brownie that says, I love your shirt. What does it say? It says
this one, embrace kindness, embrace mindfulness, embrace empathy, joy, peace, life, and happiness. So just the idea of embracing all those things. It's so funny. In my talk I did a couple of weeks ago, I was just talking about the importance of being present, right? And the importance of breathing. There's so many things that we are conditioned to just move through and press through. You know, a lot of times women press through heartache, they press through disappointment, they have to show up every day, and we're not allowing ourselves to show up for us. And so I didn't intentionally wear this shirt, but this is definitely the wave I'm on, of embracing these wonderful things, joy, kindness. We know we're in Black History Month, and we know that joy is an act of resistance too, right? That's a way that we as the people can display our resistance to a lot of what the culture dictates for us. So I'm really advocating for the betterment of women, and not just in a physical sense and self-care, but also in a mental and emotional space that we're in right now. You know, 2020 was a big shift for me, where it gave me an opportunity to just take some inventory on things, you know, and back to the fearless movement, I am pursuing my goals as an actor, and God has been really great to give me some really wonderful opportunities, but I didn't want to wait until I got my Oscar to start this service, organization, or foundation.
Right.
I don't want to wait until I'm on the cover of Essence and then I'm doing service, like
doing stuff. Yeah.
Right. This is going to be a part of my journey as I grow, because at the community that I'm creating, we're on this journey together. So we're about embracing all the good things right now.
Yes, that's what we are too. We have Satin Brownie that also says, sometimes I forget to breathe. That's true. I mean, consciously being aware of it. We have Go Inspire Jamaica Foundation says, yes, this is so great. They also say, just beautiful, so inspiring. It really is. We have some questions for you.
Okay.
Why is it important for us in general, but especially women, to face our fears?
Woo, wow. Because we as women, and I'm going to speak specifically to African-American women because I'm a Black woman, we have only seen push through, press forward, right? That is what we've seen from our ancestors. That is what we've seen from our mothers, our grandmothers. I'm going to take it back. We come from women who birth children and return to the cotton fields the next day. You know what I'm saying? Like, we come from women who, yes, you may be violated emotionally or physically, and we press through and go to work the next day. So this idea of self-care and awareness is really new for us. We have been the last group that has been allowed to take care of ourselves. So it's important for us to face our fears, because we have to be the generation that takes the baton and we have to run forward, right? We cannot continue to operate in this generational cycle of being stagnant, of being fearful, not knowing if we can conquer these things, not aware of that we are capable of better. So facing our fears, and that doesn't mean that you're not scared. I'm scared. I'm in a show right now in Atlanta. Of course, I'm a performer, and there is always that unsure feeling, that uneasy feeling that we have when you approach anything, whether I'm getting ready to go on stage, whether I am shooting a movie, whether I am interviewing for a job, applying for a grant, taking a financial risk. There is that scaredness, but fear is crippling. Fear will have you shell shocked. Fear will have you where you're not able to move. So we as women need to face our fears, because we have got to get on the other side of things. We are limiting our ability to be everything that God has called us to be because of fear.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Keep everything in. I want to read some comments, because what you just said led me to two other questions. We also have Entrepreneurs Aloud saying, spitting facts. That is so true. Black queens, please self-care. That's part 2 question. We have Satin Brownie saying, we treat that fear like petrol. Be fueled by it instead of being crippled by it. And I think it's okay to hit, fall, then rise on up. Yes, most definitely. That's my other question. How do we start to heal? How do we start the healing process, given that we've all had, and myself can speak as a Black woman, have this generational, whether you know it or not, baggage.
Right.
And maybe they haven't learned how to heal. How do we start that as the new generation?
Yeah, that's great. And again, I can only speak from my own experiences, and we are on this collective journey together as women. But what helped me was the idea of one, taking inventory, right? When you take inventory, you kind of put everything into perspective. I'm feeling this way. Why? How did I get here? Right. So I'm like, okay, this thing is broken. It's not working. Let me take some backward steps. Let me backtrack a little bit and figure out how I got here. So that's the idea of taking inventory. And a lot of times, how do we start to heal? It's by identifying what those things are. So we know words like triggers and gaslighting and all that kind of stuff. Those things became very common amongst our cultural dialect going into like the great resignation, right? So a lot of us left corporate jobs in 2020 or decided I'm at home. We took inventory, right? I don't really like this job. I don't really like this relationship. I'm not the healthiest that I want to be. I don't like my hair. I'm gonna cut it off. Like that pause gave us an opportunity to take inventory. So I believe starting the process of healing is taking inventory and looking at where am I really at? And then once you take inventory, it's just like when you clean your closet out. I don't wear these shoes anymore. I don't need those. Don't ever the wheel. These pants are too small. So I don't need to have those in my closet. So all of that is the process. So it's the inventory first, and then we start the cleaning out. And then once we did the clean out, now I can create a clear plan for myself. This is where I want to go forward. Now, what are the steps to getting there? I need to surround myself by people who believe in me, who will hold me accountable, who will pour into me, who I can be vulnerable with, right? So like now we're starting to build this cake, right? So we took inventory.
Layers
we took inventory. We cleaned out, we have a clear plan, and now we're starting to rebuild. So for everybody that looks different, it depends on, what your journey needs to look like and the things that you're in the process of overcoming. But I'm gonna go back to my life motto, which is being fearless in the pursuit of what is setting your soul on fire. So my end goal, the thing I'm running towards, is what is setting my soul on fire. And that is regardless of whether I'm in a television and film space, whether I'm in a theater space, a commercial space, a service space. On your show today, it is about being my absolute best, being everything that God has called me to be, and being that from an authentic and vulnerable place, because we have enough shiny, curated, being sold to. We have enough of that in the culture, and I think it can create such an unnecessary stress for us as Black women when we see these unrealistic standards and people are not telling you what their journey really was to get those wins. My husband says that all the time. Like I use the term like, I want to win. That's a win. They winning. And it's like, they're winning, but are they really winning? Because you're only seeing what they
what the
decided
package
to present.
is.
Exactly.
Yep. We have some more comments are going off. We have Entrepreneurs Loud that says, you better talk. Yes. We have Go Inspired Jamaica saying, whoo, I love it. Authentic and vulnerable place. We also have Entrepreneurs Aloud saying, unnecessary stress. My goodness, speak, queen, speak. Silent cries. Yes. And I feel like it's those silent cries that kind of hinder us. Because the other day I ironically posted a poem real quick, and it was short, but something along the lines that pain that isn't healed, or pain that is healed will turn into passion and purpose, but pain that is not healed will turn into poison. And I absolutely, what did Satin just say? Something also just came up. She said, and own your truth. You won't embrace me because I will put my own stuff out first. I love me radically. Well said, Tina Fairs. Hashtag the fearless movement. Hashtag the fearless movement. I have one last question before we go. How do we learn and develop the gifts that God has bestowed to us? So once we cleaned out our closet, and once we start networking with the right people, how do we learn to develop those gifts that we have?
Yeah, I think identifying those gifts are, what are those things that wake you up in the morning? What are those things that you might be a little restlessness at night, right? You can go to school and get a degree and be a teacher, but you absolutely love to bake. That's all you think about is new recipes and, how you can create this content. Those are like things that you've been caught, like you feel that stir up on the inside of you, right?
Yeah.
Those things that you enjoy, those things that you're passionate about, those things that you love. And so I think it's important for us to start listening to them. Now, fear, what have you? Well, girl, you went to school and you paid the student loans and you went to school to be a teacher. But if you're miserable every day in that space, give yourself enough grace to start exploring what those other things look like, because life is hard enough, and for those of us who have crossed over into the 30 threshold, and some women who may be in their 20s late, once you start getting onto that hamster wheel of life, we have to be in a place that is fulfilling for us. And that's what goes back to that authenticity and that truth. There are a lot of people that are really great at a lot of things. I am, was always kind of labeled a jack of all trades. And so I had to figure out how to package all of those things so that I could make a living, so that I could be fulfilled. And I'm still exploring and understanding all of that. So I think it's tapping into what is your heartbeat? What are those things that you really ultimately desire to do? And it's not thinking that it's going to be like a 0 to 100 overnight thing. It's a little by little. If you want to be an event planner, put together a brunch at your house.
Right.
And invite a couple of friends over and try some things out and just see how that works, because you're now starting to explore what that looks like to start planning events. We talked about the cupcake lady. There are a lot of people who have been bitten by this entertainment bug, right? Everybody wants to act and sing, and people ask me all the time, how do I break in? Start doing local theater. Start creating content on social media. If that's what you wake up in the morning every day, you're binging Netflix and it's like, man, I want to do that. I believe I can do that. We have to start taking the steps towards being fearless in the pursuit of what is setting our soul on fire, and being honest with ourselves too. Because just because you like something, okay, now I'm gonna go here, doesn't mean that you're necessarily great at it and that's what you're called to do.
Yes.
There's a lot of people who love to sing, love music, and can't sing at all.
Don't mean God bless you with that gift. You can love it. Keep it inside.
But you might be a great songwriter though.
Right.
You might have a gifted pen. You might not be the best person to actually present the song, audibly, vocally, but you might be the person who is a gifted writer. But I think once we start exploring those things, right, we've identified that end game where we're trying to get, then the pieces will start to kind of fall in, and then maybe like, that was a phase, but really, I just need to keep teaching school and figuring out what other things I like to do. So I think giving ourselves grace to explore those things, but we have to try. We cannot just be about the conversation. We can't talk about it. It's time to put things to action and start finding our way, because that hamster wheel of life will continue to go around and around, and we need to be our most fulfilled selves in these spaces.
Awesome. Yeah, I could 100% agree with you. We have Satin Brownie that says unearthing potential, purpose, and gift is key. You are going off. We definitely have to have you on for a part 2. Everyone, hashtag the Fearless Movement and support Miss Fears at Instagram. Her is at Tina Fears. And go to her website, tinafears.com. It was such a pleasure having you, Miss Fears, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
All right.
Have a great day.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone. Wasn't that awesome? I loved it. My heart, I was ready. I am motivated. Now, if you or anyone you know is an inspiration in their community, remember, this can be big or small. We want to help celebrate your work and their work so that others can be inspired and support them too. We love to be a part of your vision. So again, email us at info@umeradio.com. Remember to be the light within your community. Stay connected and follow us on all social media platforms at UME Radio. Give a comment, share, like, subscribe, click that notification bell when we go live. Again, be the light. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everyone.
Are you an entrepreneur or business owner looking for ways to increase the business cash flow? Well, you're at the right place. Go grab your pen and paper, then let's begin. We'll be sharing with you 10 general funding opportunities, specifically for women of color. Please pay close attention to the dates, because the deadlines for some of them are close. To get more information on these and other grants, please go to umeradio.com/news. This information is courtesy of mycoachministry.com. Number 1. AT&T Black Future Maker. Black Future Makers are dedicated individuals pursuing greater possibilities for the greater good. Submit a video of 30 to 60 seconds or a photo on your Instagram feed. Tell us how you are pursuing greater possibilities for yourself and the community. Tag it ATT and use #DreamInBlack and #ATT contest. Winners are chosen monthly. Grants for $10,000. Apply by December 31, 2022. Number 2. Boss Impact Funds Invest in Progress Grant. The organization will invest $10,000 in grants for 25 Black female for-profit business owners. In addition, the Boss Network and Sage will provide 1 year of monthly mentorship through the Boss Business University, marketing for each business, and guidance to help Black women achieve their goals, with everything that's needed to successfully start and grow a business. Apply by February 25, 2022. Number 3. Caress Dreams to Reality Fund. 60 women of color founders will be selected to receive grant money and access to resources that will set them up for success and reach their funding goals through crowdfunding campaigns. Grant for $5,000. Apply by March 4, 2022. $4. CCWC Women of Color Entrepreneur Grant. Corporate Council Women of Color will award 5 grants to women of color entrepreneurs. Your business is established as of January 1, 2020. Grants are $5,000. Number 5. City Trends. City Trends wants to advance and further the businesses of Black entrepreneurs with a $5,000 grant. Only available to residents of 30 U.S. states. Applications are due February 28, 2022. Number 6. Fearless Strivers. Open to Black women who are legal U.S. residents, including DC, 18 years and older, and the principal owner of a U.S.-based small business. Grants for $10,000. Apply by December 31, 2022. Number 7. Horizon Micro Grant. Each month, a $500 micro grant will be awarded to a for-profit small business owned by women of color. Past recipients used grants for computers, equipment, marketing materials, software purchase, website creation, and more. Number 8. Invoice to Go. Businesses must be minority-led, less than 5 years old, and have less than $1 million in annual revenue. The opportunity is open both to sole proprietors and businesses with employees. Grant for $10,000. Apply by February 28, 2022. Number 9. Kinetic Black Business Support Fund. Must be a Black-owned small business in the state of Georgia, Charlotte, NC or Lexington, KY and receiving broadband internet services from Windstream. Grant for $2,500. Number 10. Silver and Reilly Women Entrepreneurship Grant. In this round, they are focusing on Black women-owned businesses that have been in operation less than 3 years, that is, founded no earlier than February 2019. Grant for $2,000. Apply by February 28, 2022. That is today's Spotlight. Thanks to mycoachministry.com. For more information, please visit umeradio.com/news.
Install the Umi Radio app on your phone for timely updates and alerts on these and other opportunities. If you are looking for reliable support to help to grow your business, email us at info@umeradio.com.